passing of Cedric Ndilima Babu over the weekend to the events that transpired yesterday during the celebrations of Martyrs Day and to the swearing in of Honorable Norbert Mao as the president of the Democratic Party for the fourth term after defeating Dr. Lulume Baiga and Elia Alicia, as well as more that we shall be sharing in here on the show. Now, if you plan to celebrate Cedric Ndilima Babu's life, there is an updated program. And it started really yesterday, but moving on to today, the 4th day of June 2025. People will be gathering. Yesterday, friends gathered at his home, and that was at about 6 p.m. And today, gatherings still will take place at still his home, and 6 p.m. is the time on there. And Thursday, 5th at midday, still at the hut behind the racket, and at 6 p.m. main vigil will be, and mass will be at Cedric's home. And 6th June, 10 p.m. there will be, that is 10 a.m., pardon me, 10 a.m. there will be a mass at Rubaga Cathedral, and at 1 p.m. departure for Kamengo, and 6 p.m. vigil at Kamengo. And on Saturday, 11 a.m. Cedric's final set funeral ceremony at Kamengo. And for more details, if you want to really be engaged, you can contact Ham Frenze and Simon Kaheru, as well as Andreas Nicolaides, the treasurer, whose number is also displayed there on the screen. And Cedric, having been part of the UBC family, we continue to say, Cedric, rest in peace. Meanwhile, Kampala Queens FC yesterday was crowned champions of the FUFA Women's League at the Philip Omondi Stadium. And in the final game of the season there, the Queens of Soccer played out a 1-all draw point against the Shimaroons in a closely contested game. And more of that in the sports world will be coming in from Ruben Chivirango later on the show. But once again, good morning, Uganda, and thank you so much for being on the show. My name is Julie Nantaba Musisi. I am with Robert Chirago Nyonyi Ntono and Olive Monica Najima. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning to you, and of course, Olive, and that someone there that you're speaking to, the thousands and millions watching us. Good morning.
Right, Olive, good morning.
Well, good morning, Julie. Welcome back. We missed you yesterday, but I am glad you're back today, and welcome back, Robert. Yes.
Now, I'll start with you to just shed light on what stood out as a highlight for you from the celebrations of the Uganda Martyrs.
Yes. Oh, there was a lot. There was a lot. First of all, more than 600,000 pilgrimages made it to both the Catholic shrine and also the Anglican site in Chianja along Namgongo. And the security was tight in as much as the other side of Munyonyo, we had an incident that claimed lives of 2 people, but at least as far as Namgongo is concerned, security was tight. There weren't at least fatal incidents like the one we saw in Munyonyo. But when I go back to the words that were shared yesterday, Julie, when the president of the country, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, was on the side of the Anglicans at the site in Nachianja, at the Anglican site, because last year he was on the Catholic side. Exactly. Yeah. So him and the First Lady Janet Kataha Museveni walked in at sometime past 10, and they were the chief guests yesterday. Now, when so the chief preacher was the retired Archbishop Henry Luke Orombi. Right. And the reason he was chosen to be the chief preacher apparently was because back in the day, the Anglican Church has always invited other preachers, archbishops from different countries, but then they say they wanted to honor our men and our reverends here, our archbishops here that can engage and speak to people and that have done great work. And from the words of the chief preacher, he did say that the country's moral conscience is going as rights abuses, bloodshed, and political apathy are gripping the nation as we gear for the 2026 elections. And he also said, called upon Christians and said Christians must light the world through truth and humility. And he even said, reject political arrogancy. He quoted Romans 12:9-21, and he said, which says, cling to good, hate evil. And then he also evoked the memory of Archbishop Janan Luomo, who is considered a modern day martyr, who was murdered during the regime of Idi Amin Dada in 1977. And he ended by saying, true witnesses don't abandon their posts. Now here he was saying that Janan had all opportunity to flee the country, but he did not. And he said, true witnesses don't abandon their posts. And then he concluded by saying, if you take God out of a nation, the nation loses soul. Now, on his part, Kazimba Mugalu said, that is the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, he said, resist the politics of violence, but respect each other as God's people. But the president in his speech said he allocated $2 billion each to the Catholic shrine and the Anglican site to prepare yesterday's events. And he did say that when the Muslims are ready, they too will be supported. But Julia, as I end, he also noted that religious leaders should separate religion and politics.
Right, very interesting commentaries that took place there, and the motto of Uganda is for God and my country. Robert now has been quite the detective this morning, and I would clearly see that he has some FBI tactics. And some of the stories, one of the major stories that really interested you was the terror fear that took place yesterday at the Munyonyo site. Yes.
Well, all I can give is what I was told by the UPDF, that is Colonel Chris Magezi, who is the acting Minister of Defense Public Information Officer. Now, he told us that the lady in her 20s, known as Aisha Katushabe, also known as Biaruhanga Sumaiya, but also known as Kabonessa Katushabe, was on a border, and they were intercepted about 600 meters from Munyonyo Basilica before the explosive device that she carried was detonated. Now, preliminary investigations indicate that this very lady was arrested and was in custody in 2023, to be specific, the month of October, where she was interrogated after they received information that she had connections with the Allied Democratic Forces. But also, this very lady in her 20s was a wife to Muzaffaru, who was killed while planning to attack mourners in 2021 at the home of the late General Paul Lokech, who, if you remember very well, Lokech, who was serving as the IGP, Uganda Police. Now, also, her father, Abdul Shakur, blew up during the CPS bombing in Kampala, that is in 2021. So, critical intelligence information was gotten before, and according to Colonel Chris Magezi, about 3 days back, they had arrested someone, a suspect, who revealed this information, and that there were plans to attack Uganda during the Martyrs' Day celebrations. Now, this person was arrested with laptops and rounds of ammunition, and it is said police and security agents are still trying to find out if there is any connection with Muzsan Yusuf.
Right.
Where that border, when they checked the number plate, it was registered in the names of Musana Yusuf. So they want to find out if Musana Yusuf had any connection, or it was a hired border, and this person using it had no clue about it. But he assured the public that they're on top of the game, and many tourists that are still out there, he said their life is short-lived. It's just a moment that security agencies will get them. So he said, let's remain calm. But one thing you see here is that this is a family almost like we talk about the Allied Democratic Forces. These are people who train kids while they are young. Now, if you see the father was killed, allegedly, according to UPDF spokesperson, the father was killed where in the CPS bombings. If you remember, we had one at Parliamentary Avenue and at CPS. Now, her father was killed in that bombing. The husband to this young lady was also killed during when he was attacking mourners at the vigil when we lost General Lokech. So it's an entire family that is working. Usually police and security agencies arrest people and they say we've busted a cell. We've busted a cell. So the ADF are still alive in the Democratic Republic of Congo, but also they infiltrated our country and calls upon us to be very vigilant.
Right. Thank you very much, Robert, for that highlight. And in that same spirit, do take us through what's on the local scene. Well,
let's begin with that very story. Now, an explosion occurred at about 8:45 a.m. That was yesterday morning near St. Andrew Kagwa Church, Munyonyo, claiming the life of 2 individuals. Speaking to the media a few minutes after the incident, the Inspector General of Police, Abbas Byakagaba, urged the public to remain calm, assuring them that the situation is under control. Eyewitnesses reports say that the explosion happened at about 8:45 in the morning near St. Andrew Kagwa Church at Munyonyo. Following the blast, residents rushed to the scene where they found 2 bodies, a man and a woman, along with a destroyed motorcycle. After the blast, the area was quickly cordoned off by security, including the UPDF and Uganda police. Journalists were restricted from accessing the site and were forced to film from a distance. The Inspector General of Police, IGP, Abbas Byakagaba, later addressed the media, assuring the public that the situation was under control. The UPDF Director for Information, Colonel Chris Magezi, said the terror attempt is linked to the rebels of the Allied Democratic Forces, ADF, based in Democratic Republic of Congo. Addressing the media at the UPDF headquarters in Imbuya, Magezi also linked the suicide bomber to the November 2021 blast, relating the 2 as planned by close family members. President Yoweri Museveni has reiterated the call for Ugandans to stop mixing politics with denominational sections. According to the president, tribal and sectarian markets can't guarantee prosperity. The president, accompanied by the First Lady Janet Museveni, was attending Martyrs Day celebrations at the Anglican site in Namugongo. Thousands of pilgrims across the globe gathered to celebrate the martyrs who were murdered 140 years ago. President Museveni, accompanied by the First Lady Janet Museveni, arrived at Namugongo Anglican site when the former Archbishop of Uganda, Luke Olombi, was presenting the Martyrs Day sermon. In his address, the president shared his historical experience on denominational and government issues. The national resistance movement, through the famous historical missions and ideological principles, ended the long-lasting syndrome of beggars and idlers. Museveni said the national market of Uganda can guarantee prosperity as opposed to tribal and sectarian markets. He asked the national budget to annually cater for the preparations of the Namugongo Martyrs celebrations. In his sermon, retired Bishop Luke Olombi decried how money and fame has enslaved most people and destroyed the consciousness of the nation. Still on the local scene, hundreds of thousands of pilgrims are believed to have attended this year's Martyrs Day celebration at the Catholic shrine in Namugongo, Wakiso district. The site celebrations were graced by the Vice President of Uganda, retired Major Jessica Alupo, who represented the President of Uganda. In a delivered message, Museveni reiterated government's commitment towards the annual Martyrs Day celebration. Joy filled Namugongo Catholic Shrine as hundreds of thousands gathered to celebrate the day. At the Catholic Shrine, the host diocese of Lugazi sent an invitation to President Yoweri Museveni to grace over the event. At 9 a.m., the Vice President of Uganda, retired Major Jessica Alupo, made a grand entry to the shrine. Shortly after the liturgy, led by Right Reverend Christopher Kakoza, the Bishop of Lugazi, the Vice President Jessica Alupo delivered the President's message. The president's message highlighted the need to preach a unifying gospel. Museveni further reaffirmed government's commitment towards supporting the Martyrs' Day celebration. The Martyrs' Day Mass at the Catholic Shrine was attended by political leaders such as Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, the Minister for ICT, Judith Nabakoba, Dr. Jesse Muyingo, Diana Mutasingwa, and Norbert Mao, among others. Now, finally, on the local scene, the Archbishop of Kampala Diocese, His Grace Paul Semogwere, said Uganda needs to ensure that the coming elections bring leadership that not measured by power but by service. This was during this year's Martyrs' Day celebration at Namugongo, where Archbishop Semogwere prayed that Uganda Martyrs intercede for Uganda and its leaders and for all who seek to follow Christ. There was a procession of priests and bishops from different parts of the country as they marched for the holy sacrifice of Mass of the 3rd June Martyrs' Day at the Catholic Shrine Namugongo. The Bishop of Lugazi Diocese, Right Reverend Christopher Kakoza, led the service. Bishop Kakoza told pilgrims that pilgrim is a journey of faith and urged the Christians to have that faith of Master's seed that made martyrs give their lives and die for Christ. Lugazi Diocese was animating this year's Martyrs' Day at the Namugongo Catholic Shrine. The Archbishop of Kampala Diocese, His Grace Paul Semogwere, told Christians to reject hatred, division, and violence. He said, Uganda is approaching elections and the country must not repeat mistakes that led to pain and fear. The Bishop, Joseph Anthony Ziwa, said, let the people continue to pray to God and ask Uganda Martyrs to intercede for the people of Uganda to be agents of justice and peace. Now, that brings us to the end of our local stories this morning.
All right, thank you very much, Robert, for that. Olive, what is on the foreign scene today?
Well, Julie, on the foreign scene, it seems like there is trouble in paradise as Elon Musk and Donald Trump seem not to be seeing eye to eye. Oh. Remember, Elon Musk was leading the Trump administration outfit called Doge that led to the closure of different organizations like the USAID, among others. But anyway, billionaire Elon Musk has renewed his criticisms of United States President Donald Trump's signature budget bill, calling it a disgusting abomination in a series of social media posts. On Tuesday, just days after leaving his post in the Trump administration, Musk offered yet another broadside against the legislation known as the One Big Beautiful Bill. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination, Musk wrote. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. His subsequent post laid out the reasoning for his opposition, suggesting that the spending and tax cuts proposed in the bill would balloon the U.S. national debt. It will massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit to $2.5 trillion and burden American citizens with crushingly unsustainable debt, Musk said in one post. In another, he wrote, and I quote, "Congress is making America bankrupt." The bill would extend tax cuts established in 2017 during Trump's first term and funnel more funds to his administration's priorities, including $46.5 billion for the construction of barriers at the U.S. border with Mexico. Now moving on, the Action Mission 4, also known as AX-4, set to take off from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida next week, will be piloted by an Indian as it soars towards the International Space Station. Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla of the Indian Air Force is among the 4-member multi-country crew of AX-4 that will be spending 2 weeks on the International Space Station. The flight, scheduled for 10th June at 8:22, has generated a huge interest in India, as Group Captain Shukla will only be the second Indian ever to travel to space and the first to visit the ISS. The trip comes 41 years after cosmonaut Rakesh Sharma became the first Indian to fly to space aboard a Russian Soyuz in 1984. He spent nearly 80 days there. AX-4 is led by former NASA astronaut Peggy Whitson, a space veteran who has been commander of the International Space Station twice, spent hundreds of days in space, and done 10 spacewalks. The team also includes Slaus Yuznanski from Poland and Tibor Kapu from Hungary. Just like the Indian astronaut, they will also be taking their countries back to space after more than 4 decades. Nice. Now, lastly, coming back here to Africa, Microsoft founder Bill Gates says that most of his fortune will be spent on improving health and education services in Africa over the next 20 years. The 69-year-old said that by unleashing human potential through health and education, every country in Africa should be on a path to prosperity. Speaking in Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa, he also urged Africa's young innovators to think about how to build artificial intelligence to improve healthcare on the continent. Gates announced last month that he would give away 99% of his vast fortune, which he expects to reach $200 billion by 2045, by when his foundation planned to end its operations. I recently made a commitment that my wealth will be given away over the next 20 years. The majority of that funding will be spent on helping you address challenges here in Africa, he said in an address at the African Union headquarters. Mozambique's former First Lady, Gracia Machel, welcomed his announcement, saying it came in a moment of crisis. The U.S. government has cut aid to Africa, including programs to treat patients with HIV/AIDS, as part of U.S. President Donald Trump's America First policy, raising concerns about the future of healthcare on the continent. Well, Julie, that does it for our international news. And that last story is quite interesting because you've also heard the theories that Mr. Bill Gates is among those that are vying to reduce the population in the world through his vaccination campaigns and other health initiatives. Interesting one.
That is so true.
Of his wealth?
Yeah.
I mean, his countrymen, I just don't understand why.
$200 billion, Robert, and you give away 90%, you still remain rich.
A lot to ponder on in regards to that. But let's look at what is in the dailies today, and starting with the New Vision. Over 6,500 pilgrims grace Martyrs Day celebrations. I think now they've reduced because statistics show that last year it was 6,900. But at 2026, clerics call for peace. 6,900, pardon me. But there it's 2026, clerics call for peace. And pictures there of the celebration of the Uganda Martyrs with the president in there and Vice President Alupo. And also how UPDF foiled Munyonyo terrorist attack. And also get yourself a free copy inside of the Total magazine. Plus 13 soldiers detained after attack on police. That is what is in the New Vision today. But looking at the Daily Monitor, city explosion triggers queries. And operation, the announcement by the UPDF that they had neutralized suspected terrorists after a blast killed 2, the emergence of a video footage that captured the incident, and the loud silence of police over the matter, among others, have raised questions among the public. That's what the Daily Monitor has for you. And don't mix religion and politics, Museveni tells church. Now, looking at what the lizard has in mind, maybe they want to enlarge their barracks. Why soldiers invaded Wakiso police station? That is what the lizard thinks. And excel in PLE as well in there, plus DM Extra, how the internet is reshaping faith and the church. Now, heading over to Kenya, the Daily Nation, unmasked faces in home buying scams. And the swindle, some investors paid 6 million shillings, but the houses are incomplete 6 years later. Still in the Daily Nation, end of an era at TSC. That's a story there in the Daily Nation. And also anti-finance bill activist freed after weekend in police custody. And devolution, MPs clash over extra 60 billion shillings for counties. And also housing levy. Why funds will build schools and markets. And also still in the Daily Nation, just at the top there, Raila takes on Ruto over brutal state crackdown. And that wraps it up for what we have in the dailies. Today, make sure that you get yourself a copy of any of the papers that piques your interest so that you stay well informed with matters that are factual. Now, that being said, let's have a short break, and with the song of the day, we'll be right back with more conversation in the real and a lot still more for you on Good Morning Uganda. June 2025, people will be gathering. Yesterday, friends gathered at his home, and that was at about 6 p.m. And today, gathering still will take place at still his home, and 6 p.m. is the time on there. And Thursday, 5th at midday, still at the hut behind the racket, and at 6 p.m. main vigil will be, and mass will be at Cedric's home. And 6th June, 10 p.m. there will be, that is 10 a.m., pardon me, 10 a.m. there will be a mass at Rubaga Cathedral, and at 1 p.m. departure for Kamengo, and 6 p.m. vigil at Kamengo. And on Saturday, 11 a.m. Cedric's final set funeral ceremony at Kamengo. And for more details, if you want to really be engaged, you can contact Ham Frenzei and Simon Kaheru, as well as Andreas Nicolaides, the treasurer, whose number is also displayed there on the screen. And Cedric, having been part of the UBC family, we continue to say, Cedric, rest in peace. Meanwhile, Kampala Queens FC yesterday was crowned champions of the FUFA Women's League at the Philip Omondi Stadium. And in the final game of the season there, the Queens of Soccer played out a 1-1 draw point against the Shimaroons in a closely contested game. And more of that in the sports world will be coming in from Ruben Chibirango later on the show. But once again, good morning, Uganda, and thank you so much for being on the show. My name is Julie Nantaba Musesi. I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyi Ntono and Olive Monica Najima. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning to you, and of course, Olive, and that's someone there that you're speaking to, the thousands and millions watching us. Good morning.
Right, Olive, good morning.
Well, good morning, Julie. Welcome back. We missed you yesterday, but I am glad you're back today, and welcome back, Robert. Yes.
Now, I'll start with you to just shed light on what stood out as a highlight for you from the celebrations of the Uganda Martyrs.
Yes. Oh, there was a lot. There was a lot. First of all, more than 600,000 pilgrimages made it to both the Catholic shrine and also the Anglican site in Chianja along Namgongo. And the security was tight in as much as the other side of Munyonyo, we had an incident. that claimed lives of 2 people, but at least as far as Namgongo is concerned, security was tight. There weren't at least fatal incidents like the one we saw in Munyonyo. But when I go back to the words that were shared yesterday, Julie, when the president of the country, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, was on the side of the Anglicans at the site in Nachianja, at the Anglican site, because last year he was on the Catholic side. Exactly. Yeah. So him and the First Lady Janet Kataha Museveni walked in at sometime past 10, and they were the chief guests yesterday.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning once again. Thank you so much for always choosing UBC TV. If you are just joining us, you're welcome. If you started the show with us, thank you so much for being on the show. It's Good Morning Uganda. My name is Julie Nantabamusisi, and as always with Olive, Monica Najuma and Robert Chirabo to talk about issues that you should be a part of as well. So save the number 0709 602 592. Now, MPs urged President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to address safety and economic concerns ahead of the State of Nation address, which is tomorrow. And in there, a group of legislators that included Dr. Patrick Esingoma and Isaac Otmigil called on the president to prioritize providing safety for Ugandans ahead of the 2026 general elections, but also address the issue of rationalization, which they claim has led to stagnation, and expect the president to address the need of how best the country can move forward. But also in there, they addressed that, they highlighted the issue of stalled roads due to the fact that contractors abandoned sites, and wanted the president to address that issue as well. Now, that particular topic is what we are looking into as a conversation this morning. So once again, 0709602592. Share your mind, share your opinion. What do you think? What do you have to say in regards to this particular topic? And let's together learn and relearn from each other. And I will start with Olive. Olive, with all that was shared by the MPs, share your perspective in regards to the concerns raised?
Well, Julie, it goes without saying, we just had recently the Kawempe North by-elections, right, and we saw the events that preceded and also the events that preceded the by-elections. We saw aspiring Member of Parliament, Elias Ruyimba's Nalukola, quote-unquote, abducted, and at some point, we didn't know where he was. Then he resurfaced. But also the way security personnel treated people, especially the ones that had these masks, the way they beat people, and of course, it goes without saying, the beatings of the journalists that were covering the election process on that day. But we have seen the same happening, and I think when members of parliament ask the president to address these concerns, this is not happening out of thin air. If I may take you back in 2020, just the year before we had the last elections in 2021, we had an incident that sparked outrage across the country, and that is the riots that began in Luka district when the National Unity Platform Party president was arrested, and then riots broke out. Unfortunately, riots were happening in Luka, but before they could even take shape in Kampala, there is a BBC video that shows that there was this particular police car driving around Kampala streets, shooting randomly at people. For me, in my memory, what I remember is that lady who was hawking food that was shot on the streets on Kampala Road around King Fahd, and then the mom whose son was shot as they were coming from shopping, and many people who died really. Now, I'm not saying security personnel shouldn't do their jobs, but sometimes I think what they do is against the orders that have been given to them by their supervisors, by their leaders. So when members of parliament call on the president to assure the nation that there won't be violence, that it will be safe, I think there is meat to that bone, because all of this that is happening, we have all of the concerns they have, we have seen something of the sort happening. Of course, we have also other cases that are yet to be decided on people who are claiming they have been tortured, but of course we wait and see those cases, because we can't really discuss them when they're in court. Yeah, because it is his word, he said, she said, he did, and we haven't really come to the bottom of that. Now, the other concern, Julie, is they said the president should address the issue of rationalization. You do understand that last year there was debate on let's say the mergers that we had, the rationalization, and the case in point here that I'll point out is the issue of the Coffee Development Authority, being taken back to the Mother Ministry of Agriculture, and how people were against it, saying that it is going to hamper the growth of that sector. But also the concern is that with this rationalization, you'll find that some ministries, some sectors remain redundant. Okay, and so we need to know what's the way forward. And they're like, the president needs to, because the president is our leader, he's the torchbearer, he's the one who tells us this is how we are going. And without his direction, we don't know the way forward. Also, if he doesn't address some of those issues, it leaves us in limbo as a country. So when he addresses these issues, I think many Ugandans from different sectors would feel like our concerns, we know what to do, basically. We know the way forward, we know where to go, we know how to plan, we know what to do next. Then the other concern is stalled construction of major roads. Do I really need to?
Very interesting.
Do I need to go into details about this? But I have to, because I'll tell you something, Julie. For you to know that there is development in an area, in a country, in a town, in a city, then there has to be a huge amount of infrastructure development. Now here, let's start with road construction, but then we have others. We have hospitals, we have schools, and many more. But focusing on the stalled construction of major roads, we have seen how having bad roads has affected. Just let's look at Kampala city, and you see how we have been affected. When you drive or travel through roads, let's say Port Bell Road, Old Port Bell Road, it's been under construction for the biggest part of last year, actually end of 2023, biggest part of last year. Then you look at areas of Chira, you look at my concern, when you look at areas, let's say like Ginger Road, This is an exit and an entry route for many of the country's goods. And yet, a place like Lugazi, for a very long time, had this massive pothole that was causing immense traffic jam in that place. But now it was fixed. But let's look at, for instance, is that called the Southern Bypass? Money was released, years have gone. I think we've even been fined, and the road is not even close to being finished. Yeah. And this is money. This money is not free. This money we are given, we pay it back at an interest. Guess who is paying this money? You and I and other Ugandans that are paying taxes. So, and I remember before she was fired, the former KCCA executive director, when it comes to the city roads, she was saying, oh, contractors have delayed. And we have also seen what the effect of delayed construction does. We lost a young man last month. That is Rajiv Rupalaria. Why? Because the contractor had abandoned the site and didn't leave any signages. You see what that did? We lost a young man, a brilliant mind, a business person, an employer of this country. And this is not alone. Now, when we go to the side of hospitals, not having what we need in our hospitals, the facilities we need, the resources that we need in terms of mechanics, in terms of human resource, doctors are not being, they are not being, what's the word, deployed. Interns are not being deployed, and because of that, it is the patients that suffer. When I talk about resources needed in hospitals, it goes without saying, we just lost one of us recently, Cedric Babu, because we didn't have enough resources or the necessary resources to handle the heart issue that he had.
Right. Very profound indeed. And if you're just joining in and you're wondering what we're talking about, well, yesterday MPs urged President Museveni to address safety and economic concerns ahead of the State of Nation address. And some of these concerns included prioritizing safety of Ugandans towards the general elections, included the issue of stalled road constructions, given the fact that contractors abandoned these works, but also to address the issue of rationalization, which has really stagnated most sectors. And MPs addressed the fact that these key issues needed to be addressed, and it's what we're looking at in general. So 0709602592 is the number for you to engage so that you also share your opinion on this particular conversation. Now, Robert, let's look at the political concerns, but also let me just start with this particular question. Olive has rightly painted the picture of what the elections, the recently concluded by elections looked like, and the security concerns that come with it. What do you think, how do you think such impact the trust of the public, especially with the electoral process?
One, when we see such incidents, first, they cause intimidation, voter intimidation.
Right.
No wonder we are suffering with what we call voter fatigue or low turn-ups. You can't explain why people would go and register to vote. They have even voter slips, but never turn up on that particular day. Now, one of the things that they will give you is voter intimidation. I'm not going to go, when I see heavy deployment, I may not go to vote. May say, I don't know what may happen. And when we have stories like what happened in Kawempe, where people were being walloped left, right, and center. So these cause fear. But also, there is a way that the public loses trust in the Electoral Commission. How? Because at the end of these scuffles, certain things don't go right. Now look at what we talked about, about 16,640 people missing out on voting. I mean, that's those 4 polling stations because of the incidents that happened. But also we must be very careful at this, that usually deployment comes to respond to a situation. That police has the role to protect life and property, but also to detect and prevent crime. And they work with other sister security agencies. So they may call in UPDF, they may call in JAT, they may call in any other sister security agency. So first, how do we ensure transparency before the election? That people have trust in this entire process. That someone may not feel when they see someone moving around suspiciously that let's just attack that one and beat and cause havoc. I was watching the elections in Democratic Party.
Oh, right. Ooh.
You know, these were worse than even those organized by government.
And as if setting a pace
I
for
was
what,
watching
what is
the
coming
elections
forth.
of NRM, these primaries in Zimbabwe. People beat themselves and shed blood.
And Robert,
Now, this wasn't the Electoral Commission of Uganda.
No.
This wasn't government.
No.
This was NRM, then this was Democratic Party.
Yes.
But the nonsensical, the inhuman acts that were happening. I saw big man in DP boxed down. Said, but I mean, this is just electing a party president.
It is not just.
You know? Why? Now, why would you kill someone? Someone gets a stone and smashes the other's head. Just punches. Just so. These are depictions, and no wonder MPs are scared. That what we are seeing today, we hope it doesn't surface in the coming elections, because the environment so far...
Allow me interject a bit. Olive did make a statement that it's not just, and I would understand why Robert used the word it's just because if we looked at, looking back at the NRM primaries at, the lower stages, even positions that you did not really expect chaos, that are really seemingly simple, it was just a matter of lining up, really an inferno broke out of that whole system, and you wondered why. But I'd like to pick your mind on why you used the statement, it's not just in this context.
Well, since Uganda is, we have multi-party dispensation, it means that if we are choosing, let's say, the chairman, the chairperson, the president general of the party, it is not just, it is not something simple, it is something significant, and it should come with the honor, because these are honorables. So it should come with the honor that it is expected to carry. Okay, so whether we are voting a chairperson has power in
village chairman.
Yes, a village chairperson. They have power in that area. So it is not just, it is an honor to be
Olive
in
is
the...
just not being honest.
No.
Let's call a spoon a spade a spade.
Well, hear me
You're talking
out.
about honor, but the truth is with commercialization of politics, these people are not beating each other because they want to serve.
No, listen, what I'm trying to drive at, ideally, this should be an honor. We shouldn't say this is just a chairperson. This is just a position. This is a position from which we will get the leaders of tomorrow. Except if as a country, we have given up and have said to each their own. Unfortunately, when we say that to each their own, when we go with that attitude, it costs us as the voters, it costs us as Ugandans. And I am disgusted by what I have seen in the primaries of different political parties, all of them. Grown men and women fighting each other. What are we teaching our children? Remember in primary school, we used to say a good leader should be able to serve others, sacrifice, Right now, these people are not leading. And one wonders, I'll ask you a question, Robert. I would like for you to help me. Why do you think we've become this comfortable with showing our bad manners? And here I mean our leaders. Why do you think they've become so comfortable to bear or to wash their dirty linen in public?
Now, the thing is, you talked about honor. I remember when we were growing up, I was young, but at least I have some memories of what I was told. Now, by then, someone to become an LC chairperson, we had what we call Bitauluzi. English me, please, there.
Bitauluzi? No idea.
English me, please.
That is...
Where, we would converge the area where they would have village meetings, if there were village...
gatherings.
Now, they would talk of a village meeting, people would gather.
Yes.
And then out of the blue, they say, we are voting for Chairman LC1. Can we nominate? Who do you think? And I remember someone would wake up and say, Engineer Emmanuel Katerega, and that person would say, thank you so much for honoring me, but the problem is I'm busy. You know, you would even struggle to get a chairman, LC1. Why? Because by then, we hadn't stacked money. It wasn't about...
So someone knew that if I get this position, I must serve and deliver. I must
serve, and maybe I don't have time. Now today with commercialization, let me tell you, one of the most paying jobs in Uganda today is politics. Become a councillor at KCCA here. Now, why people are washing that
or
linen?
Even being a chairperson, that's
yes, why people are washing this dirty linen is because of the money, the violence we are talking about, and the violence that may ensue 2026 if nothing is done is nothing to do with service.
Surely,
it is
indeed.
Money. Olive, if I've injected 500 million into a campaign, Olive, I will not let you win because even I have to recover this money. I've sold my house. We are talking of reality. So people are not fighting to serve us. They are fighting for the money to recoup and the benefits that come with this position.
The element of servant leadership indeed lacks. Little wonder, I think, the Henry Reverend Henry Luke Orombi spoke into the matter, trying to engage the heart of servant leadership in the midst of those who lead the country. Now, good morning, UBC. I love this government, but as a I love this government as a Christian, but surely for God shakes, but surely for God shakes, for God's sake, I think, there are things that, all right, I'll be able to read your comment. All right, okay, it's now been revived. For God's sake, there has been a lot of direct harassment on citizens and silent killing by people who are supposed to protect us. The worst part is that the people are not having freedom to talk and protest, and now civilians are being tried in army courts. This is not right. I have a lot to say, and you all know what's happening in the country. When will it end? This is Lukisha getting in touch. Thank you so much, Lukisha, for being on the show. Now, let's look at the issue of rationalization, and I'll pose it to you, Robert. As you very well had the MPs address this issue, stating that it has led to stagnation of various sectors, and they really want the president to address it with a way forward. What happens next? But what would you speak into this?
First, I want to look at what we call the State of the Nation address, because a number of these issues, and I asked myself, why were the MPs telling the president to address them? Because he has addressed them on different forums. You know, these days the president is very active. Talk about X, then when there's any issue, he comes out, and all TV stations, we cover him, speak about. For example, rationalization, he did that some time back. But what is the State of the Nation address, and why are they talking about it? This is going to happen tomorrow. Why? Because when you look at, in Uganda, State of the Nation address is a constitutional requirement. First and foremost, the president is will be fulfilling a constitutional requirement. Either he wants or not, the Constitution requires that where the president addresses Parliament, outlining the current state of the nation and government's plan for the upcoming year. This address is given at the beginning of each parliamentary session and is a way for the president to account for the resources provided by Parliament. Now, one, it is constitutional. Two, he's telling us the state of affairs, how the country is, and how they plan to spend the coming year. Now, government of Uganda sought it wise that they reduce on government expenditure. One of the reasons for rationalization was reducing government expenditure and fighting duplication of work. Don't ask me how did we get here, because I always also had that question. Now, government noticed that there were several agencies doing similar jobs, yet government was spending on each independently. Now, that was the duplication, that you have the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry, and is it Antiquities? No. Fisheries, Animal Husbandry, the other one I'll pick it later. Now, You also have other bodies there running independently. You have the experts at the ministry, you have the experts in this very body, you know, they're all doing similar work, and government is spending so much. So government said, no, those that are doing similar work, let's merge them. And this included cutting, of course, of staff to reduce the expenditure and ensuring now some of the outcomes. Let's talk about UNRA, the Uganda Roads Authority that was merged, National Roads Authority that was merged under the Ministry of Works. Yeah. That you had engineers in UNRA, you had them also in Ministry of Works. These were doing road repairs, and these were also doing, so it was more or less the same work. However, you had a huge chunk of people. And one thing that was also confusing, most of these people, these entities, had very fatty salaries. For example, you can't compare the ED of UNRA, how much he was earning, compared to the minister, even if all the ministers under that. The allowances, everything in these specialized bodies was more expensive and more costly to government. The question is, and why MPs are saying the president should address it, have we seen this merger meaningful to us?
Right.
Has it delivered? Okay, if you've removed UNRA and put it under Ministry of Works, the question is, now, are we having better service delivery?
Right.
Because not all workers are sent away. You retain some. Of course, some lose their jobs. And government has to find money, the compensation and all the terms to discontinue them. So many are saying that actually this rationalization, though one would say still early, but it hasn't delivered the desired results.
Right. Now, as we begin to bring this conversation to a conclusion, allow me also engage more of your comments. And starting with good morning, Julie Robert, and well be back, Olive. This is, by the way, Cricket Derek Gagamil, who kept on asking for you, Olive. So he's very excited as we are here on the team that you're back. But he says, a president being a top leader in the country, we expect a lot from him, more so in this period when we are heading to the polls. The country is always at stake, and many questions that are political, social, and economic rise within the needs to put the president at a task. So we the electorates always look forward to a peaceful and democratic country, which starts with the president before it stretches. This is Cricket Derek Gagamel from Machindie, Luwafu. And moving on, good morning to you all, and thanks for the show. This year is there any salary increments in any sector? I'm Ivan from Bali. Ivan, okay, we are not really
looking at the budget.
We are not looking at the budget, indeed. Kimaleni Michael, getting you live from Bududa district. As we teachers, we are expecting salary increments to our counterpart of arts and primary teachers during the State of Nation address. I submit. Good morning, Uganda. Thank you for the show. I'm in Soroti. Thank you so much for watching. Hello, Madam Moderator. I know in most cases, government actually, NRM has a hand in all the malbehavior during elections. My humble request is that the president should put off these elections of 2026 and save us money and lives. Wow. This is Sam Duka in Ginger. And finally, good morning, UBC. This is Dennis Kiria in Entebbe. I expect the president to concentrate on implementation of its programs like PDM and infrastructure and try to make a follow-up through their intelligence personnel. Thank you for the show. Thank you so much for being on Good Morning Uganda. Indeed, this is still a concern and as the conversation has gone, there's still a lot of concern, there's still a lot of questions. Hopefully, our leader, the president of Uganda, will speak into them and give hope to Ugandans. For now, good morning. Up next is GMU Tourism Express. There is a conversation there on the untold power of school-based museums, and in particular the heritage at Immaculate Heart Girls Schools, Nyachibari.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, This is Good Morning Uganda.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Okwongera okuyiga ebikwata ku musolo n'okubisembereza abagusasula. Bannayuganda bangi balina ebibuuzo ebikwata ku musolo gwe basasula eri ekitongole ekiwooza URA.
When we come at revenue, they tell us to clear kitenge at 10,000.
Alipofika kwa mwingine URA na kurespect lazima mzee tuongee. Munaongea. Akuna fika kwa nyingine na kamata faili yako naweka kwa drawer na
okutegeera obukulu bw'okusasula omusolo busobola okuyamba okuzza bizinesi yo n'okwewala okufiirizibwanga. Kati osobola okufuna okuddibwamu obutereevu. Sindika ebibuuzo ebikwata ku musolo ng'oweereza obubaka bw'obutereevu ne WhatsApp ku nnamba y'essimu 0794-18-87 olwo ofuna okuddibwamu okuva wa Kamisona General wa URA John Musinguzi. Laba mawulire gaffe UBC leero buli lwa bbalaza n'olwokusatu ofuna okunnyonnyola okulambulukufu okuva ew'omukenkufu. Buuza Kamisona.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the Immaculate Heart Girls School Museum, an epitome and a center of academic excellence, a beautiful school that has stored cultural heritage in this wonderful museum of ours. This museum began in 2012, an idea that was brought up by the late Mr. Michael Ntakarimaze, the then patron of clubs, and Miss Salome Bonavana, the current UNESCO club's patron. This idea, when was sold to the administration, it was successfully embraced, and that's why now today you see this great museum standing in front of you, ladies and gentlemen. So ladies and gentlemen, what is it about this museum? What are the benefits? Why did Immaculate Heart Girls School create a museum of its own? Well, among the many benefits, we have educational research. We have cultural heritage preservation in this school museum, as well as a lot of research and inquiry. There is a lot of creativity and innovativeness that is brought about by the existence of this very museum. And we also have a lot of community engagement, as will be seen as we continue on other sectors, as we tour this museum, as well as we tour different areas of the school that support the culture and heritage of this wonderful school and Uganda at large. So now, ladies and gentlemen, join me as I take you for a tour around this beautiful museum and we explore what is beneath it. Catholic-founded school, as much as respect all religions. That's why, to show that we are proud of our Catholic foundation, we have beautiful pictures of our popes, as you can see. We have bishops of the Kabale Diocese, the chaplains from the third last to the current chaplain. We have the administration, the founding body, and all the administrators and teaching staff that have been in the school. We have our beloved founder, Mr. Nkalanga, as you can see, Right Reverend Mr. Nkalanga. Then we have this bishop here who changed the name from St. Kagwa Senior Secondary School to Immaculate Heart Girls School Nyachivali, as we know of today. Then these are our headmistresses, from the first pioneer headmistresses coming like this to our current headmistress, Sister Sabina Tumusime. From there, we continue on to show you the beautiful heritage of our school with the leaders who have been there. As you can see, our headmistresses. From here, we have the school uniforms. Senior 1 and Senior 2, we wear green. Senior 3 and Senior 4, they wear khaki. Senior 5 and Senior 6, they wear brown. And here we have the cabinet ministers and councillors, the school leaders. This is the uniform they wear, and these are some pictures of some of the cabinets and council bodies that have been in duty and in charge.
Are those items made by students?
Yes, they are very much. As we continue, we have crowns. These crowns signify pageantry and queenship in this school. For as long as I can remember, queenship has been there in school, and it has raised and developed girls into wonderful queens that they are today. As you see, these crowns are a symbol of the queenship we have in school, as we respect them very much. And we have over 21 queens at the current moment in our school from the recent pageantry we had. And on top of that, some crowns are kept here, but the rest are kept to the queens. We keep some crowns here so that when people come to view, they see, yes, you have queens in school. But the queens always keep their sashes and crowns with them so that when they move out of Immaculate Heart, they have a name to spread and they be proud and happy. As we have seen in different installations, we have so many of our girls, our students, who have made it out there in various stages of pageantry and queenship, which makes us so proud and happy. So we thank the administration for bringing up pageantry into this school. After that, we also still have some beautiful handiwork of students here. Then here we have albums where we keep various events, because the school does a lot. As you can see, we have a very, very huge population. So because of that, not everything can be framed in a photo. So that's why whenever we have so many beautiful events, we take time. Some are kept in the headmistress's office, and the rest are brought here and stored safely in these albums, so that to keep memories. Whenever students wish to maybe know what happened long time ago, they just come and take a peek, and it just makes them feel happy because they know the heritage of their school, and they are proud to be part of Immaculate Heart Girls School. As we can see here, we have the pictures of our presidents, President Museveni, and we also have President Milton Obote. We also have the first Immaculate Heart Girls School architectural landmarks. We have the administration block, the dormitory, the dining hall, the laboratory, the accountant's office, and the White House. So these were the first buildings that were built when Immaculate Heart Girls School was beginning. This administration block was once a junior school. Then it was changed into the administration block of this school. Then even this White House was where teachers who used to teach, this is where they used to sleep, and the students used to sleep here. But now my school, I'm proud to say, Immaculate Heart, has developed, and now we have a lot of accommodation facilities and a lot of very good infrastructure. Then here we have a picture of the late Mr. Ntekarima Zemaiko. This man was very good and respected. He was the UNESCO patron alongside Teacher Salome, supporting her in her activities as Teacher Salome was the patron. He composed the UNESCO anthem that is sung worldwide today. That's why every year different people from UNESCO come to check on our school to see how the museum is coming about, because the museum was his idea, and thanks to him, this is all that we have here.
Interesting.
Yes. Then these, as we continue, there are pictures of different accomplishments. The netball team of the school. Our school is really very rooted in sports activities because we compete in so many sports activities: netball, volleyball, golf, basket, football. And our school is still developing to accommodate more, because we also want to include table tennis and chess as well. And this is why we have this picture here to show the significance of one of the greatest championships we have won in this school. This is the school emblem. When you go on our various uniforms, this emblem is embedded on our badges, as here on my badge as well. So now when you see this emblem, there are a lot of features here. But to summarize, this is an I, Immaculate Heart, Immaculate, then an H, Immaculate Heart, then an M, Immaculate Heart of Mary, because our patron is Mother Mary. That's why when they were making the school emblem, they made sure to embed in this Immaculate Heart of Mary. Then we have different school colors: green, black, yellow, red, white, as well as these stairs. Now these stairs show that at Immaculate Heart, if you want to reach academic excellence, you have to climb up. You don't stay down. You climb up and you grow slowly and steadily. And then when you have this book, which the main aim of coming to Immaculate Heart is education. So with this education, after climbing your stairs, reach academic excellence. And then this beautiful light here shows that you are light to the world, because as one of the greatest men, Nelson Mandela, once said, education is the greatest weapon that can change the world. So with an education, you become a light to the world. And with that light, you become a crown and a queen, and you cause a lot of change and a lot of beautiful diversity in our community and the world, because in many Immaculate Heart girls, old students have done a lot and continue doing a lot, changing and being queens in different areas and sectors that they go to in life. And with our beloved school motto, Excelsior, which means aim higher.
And what do this word exactly mean?
Then this word, Chalum Terminus Est, this means the sky is the limit. Then Volito ad astra means fly to the stars. These are written in Latin.
Okay.
Welcome back from Immaculate Girls High School in Nyachibali. My name is Olive Monica Najoma, here to take you through business news this morning. Well, Siatini has partnered with Trademark Africa and launched maize bylaws to strengthen the maize value chain compliance and competitiveness in Amuru, Gulu and Elegu market. The move enhances the capacity of maize value chain actors in these districts to adhere to required maize standards. Now, Siatini, with support from a legal consultant, developed these maize bylaws for Gulu, Amuru and Elegu market. The bylaws will compel maize value chain actors to adopt good agricultural practices like proper post-harvest handling practices, invest in improved storage facilities, and adhere to established quality and safe standards. Maize production and marketability in Gulu and Amuru districts is hampered by farmers' inability to meet set standards as a result of poor quality of maize grain. Now, poor harvest handling, inadequate food infrastructure in harvest and post-harvest reduce gains made in accelerating maize production in these districts. Maize is a vital source of food and for income generating for households in Uganda, while its adaptability to various agroecological zones makes it a suitable food that sustains families. Still in our business stories, MTN Uganda has kicked off its 2025 edition of the 2021 Days of Yellow Care, an annual company employee volunteerism initiative. This year's 21 Days of Yellow have, in partnership with Kampala Capital City Authority, been launched at Kabalagala Youth Centre. This year's campaign, themed Connecting at the Roads, Connecting Communities Through Digital Tools, will run till June 21st, 2025. The initiative, that is celebrating its 18th year, focuses on supporting communities that continue to face barriers to digital access and connectivity. The planned activities include provision of computer labs with paid internet, tree planting, membership workshops, digital literacy training, and solar and water harvesting installation. The project, launched at Kabalagala Youth Center, which is now equipped with a creative studio featuring video and photography suites to promote music and digital content creation. Additional support includes garbage recycling for green jobs and landscaping to enhance sports and provide urban youth self-employment opportunities. MTN is also extending this initiative to Uganda through the Nabagerika Foundation and Digital Tourism and HIV/AIDS awareness in Toro Kingdom. MTN is also addressing teenage pregnancy through digital education in Alu Kingdom, enhancing vocational skills and youth empowerment in Busoga, and also involves refugees. These interventions, valued at over 500 million shillings, reflect MTN Uganda's commitment to digital inclusion and community transformation. Now, in other news, as the faithfuls gathered to honor Uganda Martyrs, business in Namgongo also experienced a spiritual and economic revival. From small traders to local entrepreneurs, yesterday brought more than just prayers, it brought profits. This Martyrs Day in the heart of Namgongo, business was booming as pilgrims and visitors poured in from all corners of the globe. Local entrepreneurs turned this sacred day into an opportunity to earn a living. Hotels, transport services, and clothes have seen a spike in demand. Traders reported doubling their daily earnings due to the influx of visitors marking this national holiday. While Martyrs Day is a spiritual observance, it also highlights the growing link between faith-based events and local economic development, with increased foot traffic presenting opportunities. Of course, where the Spirit of the Lord is, in comes many opportunities and blessings, and Namgongo is no exception. Well, with that, we come to the end of our business news stories, but we have more in terms of the forex rates. Let's look at how the rates were at closing of business. That was the day before yesterday. And the US dollar at opening, it was at 3,628, that is buying, and selling at 3,638. And by midday, it was at buying at 3,633 and selling at 3,643. Now closing, it was at 3,634 and selling at 3,644. The pound sterling was buying at 4,905 and selling at 4,919. The euro was buying at 4,133 and selling at 4,145. The Kenya shillings was buying at 28.12 and selling at 28.20. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.34 and selling at 1.34, and the South African rand was buying at 202.46 and selling at 203.01. Well, I'll be back tomorrow to share more forex rates as they will be displayed by the Bank of Uganda. But for now, stay tuned. Good Morning Uganda does continue. Julie Nantaba is returning with Good Morning Uganda agenda. Stick around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll-free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Okwongera okuyiga ebikwata ku musolo n'okubisembereza abagusasula. Bannayuganda bangi balina ebibuuzo ebikwata ku musolo gwe basasula eri ekitongole kiwooza URA.
When we come at revenue, they tell us to clear kitenge at 10,000.
Alikuwa fika kwa mwingine URA na kurespect lazima mzee tuongee. Munaongee. Hakuna fika kwa nyingine na kamata faili yako na kwa drawer na
okutegeera obukulu bw'okusasula omusolo busobola okuyamba okuzza bizinesi yo n'okwewala okufiirizibwanga. Kati osobola okufuna okuddibwamu obutereevu. Sindika ebibuuzo ebikwata ku musolo ng'oweereza obubaka bw'obutereevu ne WhatsApp ku nnamba y'essimu 0794188887. Olwo ofuna okuddibwamu okuva wa Kamisona General wa URA John Musinguzi. Laba mawulire gaffe UBC leero buli lwa bbalaza n'olwokusatu ofuna okunnyonnyola okulambulukufu okuva ew'omukenkufu. Buuza Kamisona.
In all these years, we emphasize 2 words, wealth and jobs, and we try to waken our people up to show them where wealth and jobs come from.
The Parish Development Model, PDM, is a bold initiative that is reshaping Uganda's rural economy. By allocating 100 million shillings to each parish annually, PDM empowers households by unlocking opportunities for wealth creation.
This program will be maintained. Each year we send 100 million for the parish. If you get the 1 million, you can buy some goats, you can buy some pigs, you can buy even young cows.
Farmers are transitioning from subsistence farming to commercial agriculture, laying the groundwork for wealth creation and improved livelihoods.
This project started 11 years ago after an inspiration from His Excellency. And that time I was working as a taxi driver. I was doing that Masa business in Soroti, and he was talking about how to improve household income.
With the PDM, you bring back the money after 24 months. But in the 3rd year, you would get another 100 million paid back by those who got first.
The President's message is a mindset changer. Becoming rich does not mean you should have a lot of land, you should have a lot of education, you just need a vision and implement and start from where you are.
So therefore, this PDM is to get all of you out of poverty. That's why we said 100 million per parish per year.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
Heroes Day is observed on the 9th of June, annually in Uganda. On this day, we commemorate the sacrifices made during the Bush War of 1981-1986, which played a crucial role in shaping Uganda's political landscape. It is a time to remember and acknowledge the struggles and achievements of those who fought for independence, peace and justice, and to reflect on the ongoing efforts to build a better Uganda. This year, the celebrations will take place under the theme, The Legacy and Ideals of Our Heroes, a Memorable Inspiration. Join us on Monday the 9th of June in Lyantonde District as we relay the activities live on UBC. Happy Heroes Day.
The parish development model launched in 2022 by President Yoweri Museveni to fight poverty and enhance service delivery at the parish level has disbursed over 1 trillion Uganda shillings to more than 10,500 circles, benefiting over 1 million individuals countrywide. The government of Uganda appreciates you for embracing PDM and using it to move away from Okorera Ekida Kyonka. You are encouraged to continue participating in this journey towards socio-economic transformation.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Thank you so much for being on the show. If you are just joining in, you're not yet so late. So thank you so much for being on the show. And if you started the show with us all the way from early morning till now, thank you so much for being on the show as well. My name is Julie Nantaba Musisi, and it's time for the agenda. Now, rural communities in Uganda face many challenges. For example, they do face the challenges of poverty, limited access to credit and market exclusion, etc., etc. But that has been proven to be lessened by cooperatives as a solution. And today in studio, we are looking at inclusive and sustainable rural transformation through cooperatives. Now, we have two amazing guests to speak into this matter, and that is Mr. Wilson Nyabitundu, who is the Lobby and Advocacy Manager, Uganda Cooperatives Alliance, as well as Mrs. Jacqueline Zawedi Ariho, who is the Head Communications and Marketing at Uganda Cooperatives Alliance. To be on the show, 0709-602-592. Make sure that you send your question in as early as possible so that it's addressed while we're still within the time threshold that we have to engage in on this conversation. Once again, good morning, and let's delve straight into it. Good morning, Mr. Wilson.
Good morning, Juliet, and good morning, viewers. UBC, thank you for giving us the opportunity to come and speak to the cooperators, but also speak to the general public about issues concerning cooperatives. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much for coming, and good morning, Mrs. Jacqueline.
Good morning, Julie, and good morning, our dear viewers. this morning is very great for us.
All right. Thank you so much for always being here and teaching Ugandans about cooperatives. And I'll start with you, Mrs. Jacqueline. Can you briefly explain the mission of the UCA and how it relates to rural transformation?
Yeah, thank you so much, Julie. Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we've always been here every Wednesday, and we've been informing people about our mandate. And we are the apex body that takes over all the cooperatives and circles in Uganda. When you go deep into the issue of cooperatives, some people do not know how to actually, they do not know what a cooperative is. But in a layman's language, or maybe if I were to use the International Cooperative Alliance way of defining it, a cooperative is an autonomous association of persons who come together voluntarily to try to meet their economic and social and cultural aspirations as well as needs. And they come together independently, but also democratically. Theirs is democratic, and it's not a company. It is an association of people. So there's the ownership bit, there's the membership bit. Our mission as UCA, we do lots of things, but one of those is to build capacities of the cooperatives and also to voice for them, to be the voice for them to government. So here, Mr. Wilson is here doing the lobby and advocacy, role, right. But in a way we are speaking for all the cooperatives in Uganda. And we are also doing a lot of capacity building. We are doing a lot of dispute, sometimes there are disputes within the cooperatives, and we are trying to alienate that as well. Sorry, to alleviate it. Now, when it comes to rural transformation, rural transformation in a layman's language still, it is just making yourself better. If you've been in the village, you want to make yourself better. If I'm to use examples, for example, you've been a woman selling tomatoes at the roadside. Now, you want to make sure that you increase on the quantity of the tomatoes that you're selling, right. Okay? Mm-hmm. And you've been, let's say, walking to the market to sell your tomatoes. But this time around, you're going to be able to transform because there are better roads that are taking you to the markets, but also maybe you bought yourself a small car, or even you have a truck where you're loading all these quantities of tomatoes that you've produced, and you're taking them to the markets. Or maybe you've been, for example, last week we were at the Musevenomics conference, and we saw what the parish development model is actually doing in transforming the rural people. We saw a video of one man who has been a hawker. He was hawking previously, small things, and maybe in a day it would bring him maybe just 1,000 shillings as profit. Now, when he was given that money of the PDM, he's been able to transform himself. We saw in the video that he was actually producing lots of onions at a large scale, and he had now the market. There were people who were coming to see what he was actually doing and buying the market from the onions from him. Now he was able to transform himself. He's able to take his children to school. He has been able to actually put up a structure. It's not yet complete, but that is what they call now transformation. When you look at our borders around, these people have been able to transform from the rural, understanding of doing things to now the modern way of doing things. These are people who are owning fleets of borders just because they are going through cooperatives. They are coming into those kind of joint ventures as cooperatives, and they're able to transform themselves. So in a nutshell, transformation means just making yourself better. Now, when it comes to inclusivity, that is when you want to look at all kinds of people, whether those who are living with disabilities, whether women, whether the youth, whether the rich or poor, they are all they are benefiting right. in the market. So that is what we call inclusivity. And with cooperatives, it is very, very, it's a much better way of coming together in cooperatives to transform yourselves as people. Thank you.
Right, very profound and in-depth background right there. Reminding you that 0709602592 is the WhatsApp number that you have to engage it as early as possible so that your opinion or your question is addressed within the time threshold that we have. And coming to you, Mr. Wilson, Jacqueline tried to, dig a bit. She just touched the surface of how cooperatives are considered a powerful tool for inclusive development in Uganda, but I know you can delve deeper and dig the water out of that ground. So why are cooperatives considered a very powerful tool for inclusive development in Uganda?
Thank you, Juliet. And when we talk of rural transformation, like my colleague has said, cooperatives are at the center of that. Now, in terms of cooperative business, when we talk of cooperative business, one of the key aspects we look at is that cooperative as a business model harnesses the key intrinsic value of human society, which is cooperation. Meaning that as a society, you can't do anything tangible as an individual. You need the efforts of others to come together and pool resources for any tangible economic progress. And that is what cooperative does, and that is what inclusivity means. Coming together, you pool efforts. The other aspect that we need to take care of is that the cooperative business model is run on a set of values. Values of self-help, self-determination, member involvement, and then concern for the community. And those are aspects that directly feed in what we call sustainability when it comes to issues of development. Now, if you make a flashback to countries that have transformed their rural areas, basically some of these achievements have been achieved through the use of the cooperative business model. Talk of countries like the State of Israel. Their earlier development efforts in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, when you read their history, these development efforts were spurred through cooperatives. Actually, I was privileged to spend some time in the State of Israel. You find that a whole village, a whole parish is run by a cooperative. It is the cooperative that organizes the farming systems, the irrigation systems, the school systems, the housing systems for its population in a particular village or parish. And it is built around the idea that no individual can do development alone, but when you bring efforts together, then you are able to move. Now, actually for Israel, they have their cooperative system called the kibbutz system, where people in a locality come together and see how they combine efforts to spur development of their areas. Then talk of a country like the United States of America, USA. For instance, 40% of the electricity subsector in the USA is run or managed by cooperatives along the entire electricity chain, from generation, transmission to distribution. USA has about 1,000 rural electric cooperatives that are involved in generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity. And as a result, this has transformed the rural areas. Because initially in the 70s and 80s, the conventional utility companies were not interested in going to do operations of electricity in the rural areas. So what people had to do was to form themselves into cooperative businesses or cooperative societies so that they address their electricity challenges. Now, look at our neighbor Kenya. In Kenya, most of the sectors that have developed, like the dairy sector, like the financial sector, like the transport sector, most of these cooperative businesses have taken the lead. It is cooperatives that are operating buses along main roads in Nairobi, matatus on Nairobi streets, and then cooperatives have been there in the financial sector. The savings and credit cooperative societies are very well pronounced in Kenya, and then cooperatives are very pronounced in the dairy sector. And these enterprises or these cooperative societies have played a leading role in transforming the rural areas in Kenya. Now, coming home here, you appreciate that the development that we witnessed in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s were spearheaded by cooperatives, particularly in our rural areas. Take the case of Nyakatonzo Growers Cooperative Union in Kasese. Growing up in Kasese, Nyakatonzo Growers Cooperative Union owned the best housing estate in Kasese town. The moment you would reach Kasese town, you would be told this housing estate belongs to Nyakatonzo Growers Cooperative Union. Nyakatonzo Growers Cooperative Union has been at the forefront of cotton growing in the Kazinga Channel area. Nyakatonzo Growers Cooperative Union has the best tractor services that you can think of. So that is how well cooperatives can transform rural communities. They use the powers of numbers and member empowerment to ensure that services reach the people to transform their lives. In a nutshell, cooperatives contribute to rural transformation through a number of ways. One is that they improve the productivity systems of smallholder farmers through availing farmers improved inputs like improved seed qualities. They enable farmers access extension services that are crucial to crop production. Through cooperatives enable their members to access financial services through savings and credit cooperative societies, but also when farmers or members come together, they are able to access other sources of finance through banks and through other development partners. Then cooperatives also enable farmers access better markets. When you are in a cooperative, you are able to pool your services or your products together and be able to access better markets than the way you would access them individually. Cooperatives enable farmers have a voice, have bargaining power, so that which aspect you would not manage as an individual farmer or as an individual household. Thank you.
Wow, as they say, teamwork makes the dream work. And that has rightly been expressed by Mr. Wilson Yabutundu. He is the Lobby and Advocacy Manager at Uganda Cooperatives Alliance. And we also have Mrs. Jacqueline Zawede Ariho, who is the Head Communications and Marketing at the Uganda at the Uganda Cooperatives Alliance. You want to be a part of the show, 0709602592. And Fabio, you come through and say, good day. For us, we work with cooperatives of cocoa farmers in Bundi Bujo. All right. Thank you for being on the show. Now, my next one is coming to you, Jacqueline. What barriers still exist that really are preventing the full inclusion as it's expected to be in rural cooperatives?
Thank you, Julie. Now, there are various barriers that have made it sometimes impossible for cooperatives to work according to how they should be. And one of these is governance. The other day we were in Kisoro, in Kigezi. We were looking at we were training actually the Kigezi Cooperatives Union, and under that there are a number of circles that we met. And one of them was that there's lots of corruption among the leadership. These people are being, taken for granted. They come, they save their money, and then before they know it, the money has been, fleeced, and it has been defrauded into other aspects of life instead of actually transforming them. There's a lot of, the women have not yet been included into the leadership roles. There's still that, that pressure and what you would call, women are not yet looked at as factors of production. You see, women, we are creators. On top of being the people who bear the children, we also have creative minds. I can say that you can have your husband. Okay, let me take an example of myself. We might have made some very good money between me and Mr. Ariho, yeah? And then he feels he needs now to do something with his money, maybe to be entertained, to go for entertainment, to go to the beach. But because I have this, as a woman, I'm productive and I create, I look in the future. I want to think that that money can actually be put somewhere productive rather than just, spoiling it. Because with entertainment, you're going to blow away 1 million shillings at the beach. And then I'm going to ask you, what have you profited out of that? Where are the profits? And the day will just end like that without any profits whatsoever. Yet if you brought that 1 million shillings and we put it into something that is going to gain something profitable out of it, an investment, at the end of the day we shall even have a bigger way of entertaining ourselves, just not going to the beach but maybe flying out of the country, because I am looking in the future, and that is my mind as a woman. But because of the cultural impediments, the norms, we have not been included into this kind of leadership. Women have not been included. And that was something that came out very, very clearly as we are doing our training in Kigezi.
And if you say that women are mostly participate in farming,
yes.
So if they are not represented at the leadership position, level, then it doesn't solve the solution of them being a part of the cooperative.
Yes. And now also the other issue is now with infrastructure. We are still having problems with our roads. Now, producers are going to produce lots of products, but then making them reach at the market, at the consumer, is going to be very cumbersome. That is why now the model of cooperatives comes into play. You know that there are very many cooperatives that have joined together to actually construct roads in their areas. Talk of Mbarara Dairy Cooperative. That cooperative has come together. First of all, they've bought coolers, milk coolers, and now they even process this milk so that at the end of the day it has that value addition when it gets to the consumer. So because of that model, they've been able to come together to buy, these people who walk around with milk in containers, yeah, that milk, as much as they are taking it to the person who wants it at the village, at their door, but sometimes it doesn't have the value addition. It is going to get bad at the end of the day. It is not processed. It is been, at the end of the day, he's walking around with his bike, going around selling it, but there isn't any kind of value addition because it's just one single person. Now let this person come in a kind of a cooperative model or cooperative way. They are going to be able to store this milk in coolers. They are going to be able to have actually competitive prices when it comes to selling them. They are going to even market them out of this country, because here in Uganda we process our milk, we package it, and we even export it because of cooperatives. Talk about Toro Dairy Cooperative. That cooperative has been very, very good in actually doing that kind of thing. But now these are some of the challenges because of the infrastructure, where now we want to advocate and say, and we call out to the government to come and actually do that kind of infrastructure development so that our farmers can take their products where they're supposed to be. And then also the awareness is still lacking. Like I told you, people are in circles, but they don't know what a circle is. They do not know how to actually register a circle. They do not know that there's a difference between a village saving group which is just registered at the sub-county by the commercial officer, and a SACCO that is registered at the registrar's office, at the Register of Cooperatives at the Ministry of Trade. So they do not know, they don't know about the bylaws, they do not know that actually when we come together, it's not about just any other investment group, but what are those things that help you to access the, that SACCO portfolio, yeah? And what are the benefits of a SACCO? People are going into investment groups, but they are still saving their money under the mattresses. Imagine it's a saving group, but the person who is getting the money is saving it under the mattress. What happens then? The rats come and they take it away. And all this is because they lack the awareness. That is why we have come up as Uganda Cooperative Alliance to actually create this. This is one of actually our mandate, to educate them, to give them the skills, the financial skills, to actually connect them with partners, development partners, who will continue giving them these skills, both on private and also public platforms.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Very profound. And a couple of your comments coming through. Thank you so much for being on the show. Fabio, you come again and you say, please share with me the UCA contacts in order to share strategy to make the, I think, your cooperative, Cocoa Farmers Cooperative, grow in the right way. And indeed, you re-echo, teamwork makes the dream work. Tractor, okay, what happened to cooperative societies in Uganda? I see the cotton and other structures getting dilapidated. Tell Ugandans what next. Okay. This is Patrico, and I think, Wilson, you'll be able to speak into this in just a minute. But for now, first tell us, what training or support does UCA provide to ensure that cooperatives are well managed and sustainable?
Thank you, Julie. And like Jackie said, the Uganda Cooperative Alliance is the apex body for cooperatives in Uganda. It is established by law under the Cooperative Societies Act 2020, and with the mandate, one, to advise government on issues of policy regarding cooperatives. The other role that UCA plays is advocacy, advocating for the cooperative movement in Uganda at national level, regional and international levels. The other mandate of UCA is to undertake training for its members, share information so that members are aware about what is happening in the cooperative subsector. The other mandate is disputes resolution. I think my colleague Jackie hinted on that. We address disputes among cooperators as and when they arise. The other mandate that UCA does is to mobilize resources from government, from development partners, resources to support the cooperative cause in the country. Then the other mandate, like we have explained, is to undertake trainings so that cooperators really get to know what is expected of them and what they need to do so that they are empowered in whatever they do. So Uganda Cooperative Alliance has been doing that and will continue to do that. Now, as part of our mandate, of course, like I have said, we look for resources from development partners. Like, for instance, we are implementing a project that we call Farmers Organization for Rural Transformation, FORT project. This is a 5-year project that we are going to implement across the country. And basically, we are going to implement it in the regions of Lango, Elgon region, Soga region, Kigezi region, and Toro region. Now, the main goal for this project, Farmer Organizations for Rural Transformation, is to ensure that we contribute to creating a resilient and sustainable development of livelihoods of smallholder farmers. And we hope to do this through strengthening farmer organizations. And these are farmer organizations include cooperatives, include area cooperative enterprises, include farmer associations. And therefore, one of the key issues we are looking at is, for instance, how do we utilize the current infrastructure out there? Like the colleague said, some of the infrastructure is dilapidated. How do we now bring on board cooperatives to manage some of these infrastructure for socio-economic transformation of their lives? So that is an area we are looking at under this project. And the project is going to address a number of systemic challenges that farmers face. We are going to look at issues of low productivity levels. How do we address that? We are going to look at issues of lack of inadequate access to financial services. How do we address that? We are going to look at issues of access to markets and better pricing for farmers' products. So that is an issue we are also going to address. Then we are also going to look at how do we empower farmers. Our focus is the smallholder farmers. The farmer should be well empowered, well trained to understand better methods of farming, to understand advocacy issues, so that farmers, through now their farmer organizations, they are able to engage various partners, development partners and government in addressing or in their development efforts.
Right. Now, let me engage a few of more of your comments. And Patrico, I think you've been answered by Mr. Wilson. Your question was, what happened to cooperatives in Uganda? And I see the cotton and other structures getting dilapidated. Tell Ugandans what next. And you also came through and said tractor units are still there in Alwa, Soroti and others. What's the plan to reinstate this project? Somebody else comes through and says, good morning, team. Does UCA have bursaries for rural community members' children? This can drive this entity to the hearts of the people and even help them understand the organization more. People need to support that. People need the support that is direct, not what we can say is programmed community lifestyle and well documented. Is there a supportive measure directed to their health too? And are we supported in this? I don't know if I'm being, of course, here. Okay, I don't know what you meant there, but you say people need this supportive measure and more to have a fresh mind to focus on farming and much more. But we love the direction UCA is taking. Jackie, let me pose this to you. What would you say about this comment?
Well, we do not have that direct support, but what we are doing as UCA, we are actually skilling people. We are building their capacities. We are building the capacities of cooperatives and also encouraging very many people to come and join cooperatives. We are encouraging the youth. I think for him, he brought it in a kind of a youth, from that angle of the youth.
Okay.
We are encouraging youth to come and partake of this. There is a cooperative society for disability, for people who have graduated but with disabilities. I think it is called Twezimbe. I'm not very sure. But that cooperative society has actually encouraged people. For them, their norm is disability is not inability.
Yeah.
Okay. Now they look at people who have disabilities, and these are youth. They have graduated, and they are encouraging them to join circles so that they can partake of the financial and other benefits that circles can benefit them with. Now, we will not give you money because money is not sustainable. If we are to pay for school fees, did he call it support in terms of school fees for their children?
School fees,
that might be sustainable, maybe because now you're educating them, but in the long run it is not. But if we are giving you skills after being educated, even if you are a dropout, there's a cooperative society in Luweero. It brings children, women, especially girls that have dropped out of school, and they train them into tailoring. Now, these are people who have gone ahead to tailor the school uniforms around for the schools that are around, and they are selling them, and they are earning out of it. So as we give you that kind of expertise, that kind of skilling, and then you also give it to your children, it is sustainable in the long run. We don't want to look at, look at the parish development program model down in the rural area. They are skilling these people, apart from, on top of giving them what they are giving them, they are skilling them. They are not just going to give you money and do not give you the skills of how to utilize that money, of how to grow that money into something better. Look at the GROW program. As much as they give you the money in terms of a loan with maybe subsidized interest rates, they are also going to skill you on how to put this money to start up a bakery, a small bakery, to start up a small sewing or tailoring, kind of industry. So even us at UCA, we want to skill people. Let them come to us. In fact, just write to us that we have some gaps in this kind of financial skills that we would wish for you to come and support us, and we shall surely come. I told you last week we were in Chigezi. Next week we are actually going to go to Gulu. They just wrote to us, and they told us we have gaps in our governance. We want to have a corporate, we want to see the reenactment of the cooperative bank. If we come together as one voice in numbers, like he said, and we lobby for a cooperative bank, it is you, UCA, that is going to take back our cry back to government. And indeed we did. When the Musevenomics conference happened, we were able to air out all these views, and it has been now put into the line of development, even right from the central bank. They are thinking of how to reinvigorate the cooperative bank back.
All right. Thank you very much, Jacqueline, for that submission. And somebody comes through with a question stating, "Dear sir or madam, I'm inquiring about the process of registering a comparative cooperative in Uganda. Specifically, what are the steps involved in registering a comparative? Do you have..." All right, let me get back to it. Yes, you said, do you have a regional office in Gulu that handles cooperative registration? Mrs. Zariho has just mentioned that, in fact, next week they are traveling to Gulu. UCA is coming to Gulu. There are numerous farmers groups in the region interested in registering as comparative or SACCO. However, they require guidance on the registration process and legal requirements. Could you please provide advice or direct me to the relevant authorities or resources that can assist these farmers groups? Thank you very much for your time and assistance. This is Okwil Denish Okelo wishing us best regards. Jacqueline, I'll stay with you to speak into it. I know you already mentioned that you're traveling to Gulu next week, but he had more questions that I think you could still speak into.
Yeah, I'll speak into it and say that, yes, as much as we have a regional office in Gulu, and we're actually working with very many models and parish people down there, but for registering a SACCO, it has to go through the registrar of cooperatives at the Ministry of Trade. Have all your papers together, have the bylaws together, have everything that incorporates you as not a company, but as a group that has... I told you that for a cooperative, you have to have one common group, and you've come together voluntarily, and you are autonomous. You're not being dependent on anything. You're independent. Now come and approach the registrar. That is the commissioner of cooperatives at the Ministry of Trade, and they will register you. Once you are registered, you can come. Immediately you're registered, because for us as UCA, we are the apex body of all cooperatives. The moment you're registered as a SACCO. And by the way, this is very important, because very many people are out there, they are labeling themselves as SACCOs, but they've not been registered. And this is where now fraud comes in. People's money is being taken. It is being stolen by individuals. You go and keep your money with just an individual. You've not been registered. You're not known anywhere as a SACCO or a cooperative. And then money is taken. Even if you go and report to police, as long as you don't have those letters of incorporation or registration that come from the Ministry of Trade, you are not going to be as much helped as it could have been when you're coming through us and also through the Ministry of Trade. There are those people who think that just a village saving group or maybe a farmers group is enough because you're collecting money. One, even a village savings group, VSL, yeah, it has to go through the right channels to be registered and acknowledged as a VSLA. You have to go to the, what are those people called? The commercial officers. You have to go to the commercial officers down at the local government so that they acknowledge you as a village saving group, because there's a lot that is going to go in there. There are numbers, and money is something that is very, very, you know, important to work with, and yet it is very tricky handling money. Yes. So now if you're going to handle money and you're not going to be registered as a circle and just a farmers group, and then anything happens, you're not going to be supported in any kind of way.
Right. Mr. Wilson, anything to add to that before I ask you my next question?
Oh yes, like Jack has explained, and to the colleague calling from Gulu, the process of registering a cooperative is not very complex. The most important thing is to understand why you are coming together as a group. And the first entry point is to get in touch with the district commercial officer or the city commercial officer. In Gulu, we have a city commercial officer in Gulu City, and then the surrounding districts of Amuru, of Noya, and other districts, there is always an office for the district commercial officer. And we work closely with these district commercial officers who provide the necessary technical guidance to whoever or to whichever group wants to register a cooperative. So my colleague in Gulu, please visit the district for visit the office of the district commercial officer at the city, at the Gulu City, or in the various local district governments. Thank you.
All right. Now, allow me also ask you, how does UCA support digital transformation or even modernization of cooperatives in rural areas?
Yes, like we have been explaining, one of the key roles that we do at UCA is to facilitate trainings, capacity building activities for the cooperatives out there. But like my colleague has said, our services are majorly demand driven. You identify gaps that you have and then communicate to us. We have had instances where we act proactively, but we encourage our members, we encourage cooperators, cooperative societies, cooperative unions, area cooperative enterprises to always assure you come to us when you have gaps. When you need support in the area of record management, we will be there for you. We have the technical capacity to train people in record management, to train in corporate governance, to train in marketing, to train in digital systems. All that capacity, we have it at Uganda Cooperative Alliance, and we are always at your service. Now, like I did mention that one of the key things we are doing under the FORT project, Farm Organizations for Rural Transformation, one of the key issues we are looking at is supporting cooperatives, and particularly savings and credit cooperative societies. And we have a program to support you in digitalizing your operational systems. So this is an area we already have a plan for. The most important thing I would urge you, our cooperators out there, is always to reach to UCA. Thank you.
Right. And I believe a direct contact will be shared as we close this. But for now, thank you, Ms. Kahanza Justin, for getting in touch and watching the show. You say cooperatives have transformed the rural communities in the Asian tigers. For example, Korea, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, India, etc., and the American and European economies, especially in rural areas, also attained transformation of smallholder farmers and artisans using the same model. This indicates, therefore, that this is our best model to development as Uganda. Let's embrace it. And that is Ms. Kahanza Justin, who is the PR of UCA. Good morning. Thank you very much for the show. We have a 5-member group saving Please kindly guide us accordingly on how to make it official or registered saving group. This is Eseri Mutema. That has been explained, and I am the person who has been there for the Economic Fundamental Change Program. Through sensitization of patriotism, I awakened all Ugandans about the core values of NRM, about the good services offered by the NRM and sustainable projects. Kindly allow me introduce the true parish model. Okay, thank you very much. And you are basically talking about the good that is in the parish model. Thank you very much. This is Susan Nantumbwe Imi. And finally, Fabio Guillermo, you say many thanks for your work. And thanks to the UCA team. If the smallholder farmers can get truly together, they can make a positive change to both their lives and Uganda as a country producing for food and for the world. Greetings with respect. Comments there coming in to celebrate the work of the UCA. Now, Amoti Junior, we are unable to pick calls, but we are able to read your text message via WhatsApp and are able to answer that. Let me come to you, Jacqueline. You did share the barriers and challenges faced, which are very profound and in-depth. What would you advise the government to do, or what actions would you advise the government to take in order to solve some of these barriers?
Yeah, thank you, Julie. Now, before I actually go into that, this topic was looking at also inclusivity.
Inclusivity, yeah.
And I want to just say something about inclusiveness.
Right.
You see, cooperatives, we want to encourage that kind of inclusiveness for rural development. And like I already told you about how women can actually help in the leadership and also in the production and also the development of cooperatives. But also the youth. The youth are a very big factor in terms of developing cooperatives. When you talk about people living with disabilities, those are people, you know, for you, you will be able to do something normally because you're normal, but then a person who is living with a disability will now, you have to use even something more to tweak his mind even more. For example, for you who is using your hands to write, you will do it very easily. But then a person who is actually using their mouth or their legs to write now is going to surpass. So when it comes to development, those people will actually do it even greater than how you look at it.
Right.
We have very many success stories in our cooperative, model. There are quite many. When you look at Wazalendo, this is a cooperative society for the army guys and their wives. These people have portfolios that is actually above billions, way billions in assets, in savings, in membership, dividends and so on. When you look at, there's this cooperative society called the Ruchiga Circle. Now, the story of how Ruchiga Circle actually came to be is very interesting.
Right.
These are women who use, like I told you, women are producers. For us, we produce. We use our hands to produce. Now, these are women who would go and produce their, they go and dig, and they produce their products. They take to the farm, to the markets to sell, and then they come back with money at home. Now, the moment the men would know that the women have actually brought money home, they would want to use that money to go and take muramba. In Chigezi, they call it muramba. That is booze. And that is not really productive. So what did they do? They had to run to the nearby church. Father Gaetano, I think you've heard of Father Gaetano. I think now he's retired. So they would go and keep their money there. And Father Gaetano would tell them, you know what, you go back home, tell those people that I did not make any money today. You just keep your money with me here. So the money kept, increasing right. At the circle. At the church, before it was a circle. And Father Gaetano said, now if there is a robber who comes here, I will be in trouble. Let me go and register a circle. And that is how the circle, it began by women, Ruchiga Circle. When you talk of Ruchiga Circle right now, it is in, I think it has a portfolio of 18 billion in assets, and is it 32 billion in just, if people come into cooperative, that kind of cooperative model, and now I'm answering your question, the government should now put up For example, they are putting up all these very good programs, the GROW program, the PDM, they are putting up very many programs. There's that youth program at the Ministry of Gender. If they can also put up programs that will enable cooperatives actually to be revived, that is one. The other issue is a cooperative bank. We have always cried for a cooperative bank. Actually, cooperatives themselves, they want banka y'omuntu wa wansi. You get it? Eh? Apart from having the circles, which is that bank where they will go and actually save and also borrow from at a very subsidized fee. That bank which is going to help them to export their merchandise, their coffee that they have grown, and also compete favorably with Brazil, which is, or maybe German, that is not actually growing the coffee, but is actually marketing it or exporting it at a very high price. And you who is actually adding value in your coffee, you're actually being outcompeted at the market. We want a kind of cooperative that is going to go down at the rural area, a bank that is going to go down at the rural person at the community, you know, area, and they train this person in how to actually budget for their money. They are making money, but they do not know how to budget for their households.
Now I understand UDB, Uganda Development Bank, is in partnership with UCA.
Yes, we are in partnership. And now that the issue is, like he told you, we have that fourth project. We are profiling these cooperatives. Now for us, we want to have a data bank, a database of all these cooperatives. The caller, or maybe the person who contributed, was saying that they have one, but they do not know where to actually go and register it. So now when they go and register, if they go and they get all the technical assistance from the commercial officer, and then we get to know that this person has actually registered their circle, then we profile that person. We put them in our data bank. We are going to partner with UDB. UDB is going now to be able, because now the cooperatives are there, but they are scattered. We do not know which one is there. It's just the few that have been now able to come and profile themselves with us, or whom we have gone down to profile, that we now understand that they are actually in existence. But if we do that kind of profiling of all our, our cooperatives, and then we put them in kind of a data bank, then we can work together with UDB, and then we can access some of these services to them.
All right. Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Now coming back to your comments. Good morning, UBC. What laws have been established by the government to protect cooperatives, especially connecting it to rural areas and inclusivity? I'll pose this to you, Wilson.
Juliet, thank you for the question, and the viewer, thank you for that question. One is that as a country, from the statistics provided by Uganda Bureau of Statistics, 75 to 85% of our population live in rural areas. And therefore, if we are to talk of any tangible development, our focus should be on these rural areas where most of our population live. And most of our population are characterized by low-income earners, smallholder farmers. So the only way out is to embrace the cooperative business model, a model that empowers individual farmers when they come together so that they are able to produce collectively and then access market collectively, access factors of production collectively. That is something we need to embrace and we need to take care of. Now, like we have been explaining, one of our role as Uganda Cooperative Alliance is to do advocacy, and to do advocacy on issues of cooperatives, do advocacy on ensuring that we have a flourishing business environment that can allow cooperatives operate. And this we have been doing. The other aspect that we do is advising government on policy issues that relate to cooperatives. Now, for instance, currently, one of the key areas we are looking at is how do we improve the operational environment for our savings and credit cooperatives, the legal framework around SACCOs operations. For instance, currently, the law provides for SACCOs to register with the Register of Cooperatives, to register with the Ministry of Finance, to register with the Bank of Uganda, and all that complex requirements for licensing make it difficult for SACCOs to operate. That is an area we are engaging the government to improve. So, like the caller said, our mandate and our role at UCA is to ensure that we are constantly engaging various stakeholders in terms of policy formulation, in terms of advocacy, to ensure that we have a favorable operational environment for cooperative businesses to operate effectively. Thank you.
Right. And Amoti Jr. here says, he is from Kamocha. Thank you, Amoti, for watching. And you say now, for how long does it take to do the cooperatives training? Thank you for the show. I'll pose this to Jacqueline. How long does it take to do the cooperatives training, the training processes that come from the UCA?
Well, that question is kind of a little bit diverse, but like you said, that we dwell on demand-driven kind of approach.
Right.
If you have a gap, let's say in digitization of your processes, we come in and do that training.
Yes.
If you have maybe governance issues, we come in and do that training. For example, some people do not know how to actually go about dispute resolution within the cooperatives themselves. We can come and look at it as just a topic. But what we do is we make sure that we touch on all regions. We go through, because cooperatives are all everywhere, in the east, in the west, in the north. So we make sure that even in our planning, that we touch on all regions, but also those ones that come to us, they write to us and they say, we need training in this particular area. We shall give you a day. We can give you half a day. We can give even 2 days, but we cannot go a whole week, because we want to establish people who are going to be trainers of trainers.
Right.
So we are going to train you as trainers of trainers, and in turn you're going to go and train your people. Because now you're the people who are at ground.
Grassroots.
You can actually go and reach those people that we cannot reach. We also use the media. Right now we are educating the masses. We are going to use just 1 hour to educate them. We can sometimes go through exhibitions. We usually hold exhibitions, and then different cooperatives come. Some of them even have even more information that we do not have as the apex body, though of course most of the information trickles down from us to them. But if they do also have the information, and we have like a trade fair or maybe an exhibition, or we have a conference, we have anything, we always invite them to come and give out this kind of information. So we cannot say that the training can be for just 1 day.
Yes,
it all depends on what your need is, where the gap is, and how much it's going to take for us to train you. But it cannot go beyond 1 week, because that would now become another kind of university.
Indeed.
But talking about universities, we are entering into a memorandum of understanding with the Moshi University in Tanzania, but also here with MUBS, so that there is a full faculty of cooperatives, so that people actually get to understand what cooperatives are. So there will be a whole course. There are very many people, like our General Secretary, CPA Ivan. He's very well versed in these cooperatives. Mr. Wilson here, he can become a lecturer because he has all the wealth. Even me myself, in terms of marketing for cooperatives, we can come and give these kind of insights to the people, especially the youth, so that it comes from within up to the top.
Right, and you did talk about some of the activities that are done by UCA, and that is reaching the grassroots. Seeing as you mentioned that next week UCA is visiting Gulu, somebody says that they really, really, really want you to provide the opportunity of being available, and you can state the preferred time. They've even left their number. Well, that will be looked into, but thank you so much, Denish Okilo, for being on the show. And as we begin to bring this to a close, let me read this one final comment. Godfrey from Umbale, Napulu. My question is, why is it that private sector in Uganda is doing better than cooperatives in Uganda? Mr. Wilson, would you be able to speak into this?
Oh, yes. The colleague from Umbale, thank you for that wonderful question. First of all, I just want to clarify one thing, is that private sector is a broad sector, and cooperatives are part of private sector. So when you say private sector is doing well, then literally you are saying cooperatives are doing well.
Oh, wow. profound.
Are we together there?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, but really I don't know in what context he meant when he says private sector is doing well than cooperatives. I think this again comes back to the issue of awareness. For instance, I can use the cooperative societies in the financial sector. The cooperative societies in the financial sector are doing very well. Savings and credit cooperatives, they are doing very well. So like I said, and these now feed into the private sector we are talking about. So essentially cooperatives are doing very well. It depends on what context you are looking at them. But overall, the private sector is doing very well, and therefore the cooperative societies out there, like I have said, particularly in the financial sector, are doing very well also. Thank you.
Right, and now our conversation starts to get to a close, and I'll use what Mr. Wilson has said indeed as a parting shot, that the cooperatives environment is also really part of the private sector, and it's at least thus far that the cooperatives business has come. It's doing very well and looking forward to doing better and better with the UCA. Jacqueline, what are your parting shots?
Thank you, Julie. Just two. One is if you're a farmer, if you're a boda rider, if you're a teacher, if you're in any kind of elite profession, for example, a lawyer, member of parliament, please join a circle, join a cooperative today, because there is a lot to benefit from that. And secondly, when you join, please be active. If you're a woman, do not be sidelined by men. If you're a person who is living with a disability, if you're a youth, let your voice come out. Get into that leadership role, and then you'll be able to make your cooperative society a better one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's been it, as we've been looking at inclusive and sustainable rural transformation through cooperatives. And thank you so much for being on the show. That's been it from Good Morning Uganda today, but allow me close with the highlight that was of yesterday of the Kampala Queens being crowned the 2024 FUFA Women's Super League champions. And these Kampala Queens FC were crowned yesterday after a defeat of their opponents, that is the She Maroons, in a very closely contested game. Now, Shamira Naluja had fired the hosts into the lead, tacking home from the sport midway through the first half. But the prison sentries were able to salvage a point and scoring through Fiona Atono after a recess. And Kampala Queens are under the stewardship of Ethiopian coach Asefa Fairu, who took them to that win. Once again, we congratulate them and indeed share the victory with them and just tell them congratulations. From us to you until tomorrow, good morning, Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Heroes Day is observed on the 9th of June annually in Uganda. On this day, we commemorate the sacrifices made during the Bush War of 1981-1986, which played a crucial role in shaping Uganda's political landscape. It is a time to remember and acknowledge the struggles and achievements of those who fought for independence, peace and justice, and to reflect on the ongoing efforts to build a better Uganda. This year, the celebrations will take place under the theme, The Legacy and Ideals of Our Heroes, a Memorable Inspiration. Join us on Monday the 9th of June in Lyantonde District as we relay the activities live on UBC. Happy Heroes Day.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll-free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort, and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses suitable for institutions like hotels, and many others for home comfort. With every piece telling a story of royal excellence, our products are built with the highest quality materials made to last. Experience royalty with Royal Foam Furniture, proudly made in Uganda, so buy Uganda and build Uganda. Visit our showrooms at Ginger Road, Chambogo Junction, Bukoto Chisasi Road, and on Victoria Mall, Entebbe, on the 1st floor.
3 days of music, laughter, and adventure surrounded by the beauty of nature, featuring Africa's top artists. dance, and live fully in the biggest celebration of Africa's diverse heritage deep in nature's embrace. Welcome to Milege. Explore and celebrate life, music, dance, cinema, food, folklore, and stories. Milege World Music Festival 2025, 6th to 8th June at Botanical Gardens, Entebbe. To buy your ticket, dial *165*20#. Choose Milege Festival 2025 and follow the prompts. Or call 0752-833-111 or visit www.milege.org. Sponsored by Entebbe Municipal Council, Uganda Wildlife Education Center, Uganda Wildlife Authority, Civil Aviation Authority, Uganda Tourism Board, Rock Telcom, Ovidian Uganda, 106.5 Energy Radio, Protea Hotel Entebbe, and UBC.
The circle started 5 years back with 15 members who were part of the executive, and we managed to use the same 15 members to mobilize the youth and come in to make the 16 associations. So each member took a thought of gathering, mobilizing the 15 people to make associations. So the circle was established. We happened to have 229 members that qualified for 30 millions, which we got in 2021. We used the 30 millions from the presidential initiative to buy the 6 motorcycles, which was a small number to benefit the 229 members, but we managed to use it. The 6 border helped us to go under saving culture. We managed to group our members into 15-15 for saving culture. So the saving culture is 15 groups. They could get 12,000 per day, which 12,000 at the end of the month manages to buy 1 motorcycle. That 1 motorcycle is shared among the 15, so they vote who to take it. The 15 kept on until the 15 months. Every member had to get 1 motorcycle with saving culture. As I say, we managed to get 84 motorcycles from today's report. On daily, a rider, you move Kawempe, Nakawaru, Makinde, you Kampala Metropolitan, and at the end of the day, you have 50,000. That one, we call it average day. There is a time you make 100, that is, we call it the golden day. So most of our members came without anything to use or to support their family. So we helped them by giving them the border as one of the job opportunity the circle is offering to the community.
Tuso okwebaza President Museveni olw'enkola eno gyatutereddewo otukulaakulanya nga najja wano mu ssaka eno nga sirina piki era ndi omu ku bammemba abaasooka okufuna piki. Kati abavubuka abali bateesobola kugula piki wano kibakyamu kuba ogula buguzi migabo $5,000 ng'ofuna piki ng'otandika obulamu. Ate ku layisi tuli bangi kuba omuntu tolina $5,000,000 zigula mpya 5 kitundu. Oba oguza emigabo ate nga gijjo n'otandikira okwo tolaba nti oba ofunyemu abantu abali batalina mirimu bagifuna. Wawo guno mulimu nno gwennyini tugufunyemu singa simaanyi ga mulimu guno kitegeeza nandibadde sikola ki sina ngeri ki gyenyiza bikwasaganya abaana basoma era muki okulya byonna okuba kwesanyusaamu era kiki era ngutwalanga ensonga enkulu kubanga ufunamu gubinkolera go ge mazima gubinkolera ddala bulungi mukadde tajula maama gwe nninawo yekka oba oli awo akasimu ante kino bakiri mugira nga noteekayo n'omusingi ante kino egamba tosobola kulwamu ki sente.
Ebyenfuna byange byali bibi ddala naye mu bbanga ery'emyezi 9 wenfunidde piki
obulamu bwakyukira ddala kubanga siganye nakati nkyapangisa naye luli eri nga landiroodi netutandika nga odduka nosanga nga basiirinze nawo naye kati nsobola omusasula nina omukyala n'abaana bendabirira nsobola okubaliisa bulungi nnyo nga embeera etambula era njagala okwebaza omukulembeze w'eggwanga tujjukira nga ffe abavubuka n'atuleetera pulojekiti eno ey'emyoga kuba ne mami wange saazina neenyumirizaamu kuba akubira akasimu n'omuweerezaayo omutwalo oba ebiri kuba oba ozirina. Njagala otwala omukisa guno okwebaza omukulembeze w'eggwanga olw'okutulowoozaako nga ffe abavubuka n'atuleetera pulojekiti y'emyoga ne tutandika okufuna ku mirimu ne tufuna ebyokkola. Twabeerangawo nga tulina byakkola tutambula butambuzi nakuzzaabuzza misango naye kati okuva pulojekiti y'emyoga we yajja kati tukola era ssente zaffe tuzirabako era olw'okuba nti nasiima nze ng'omuntu nasalawo n'ekifaananyi kya Pulezidenti Museveni kitambuze mu Kampala yonna mwenkolera okubalaga nti Pulezidenti Museveni yantuusizza ku kino kuba nenkolera ssente zange era nzifuna era nzirabako.
Before I joined a Myoga program, I was ignorant about income generating scheme. I was financially poor, but through a Myoga, when I was elected to become the secretary of the circle, I started gaining skills and knowledge on financial management. When we received money, I borrowed 2,700,000. With that money, I was able to buy 2 cows. Some balance, I was able to improve on my citrus because it was affected so badly. Part of it, I put it on poultry because I knew that poultry is another place that I can invest money. Because poultry has a quick return, we sell it at any time. Before, the orange was really...
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Good morning and thank you very much for being with us on UBC TV. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Extra. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono, and just to remind you, we are always here from 6:30, so why not make it a date and start your day with us on Good Morning Uganda. I, Olive, and Julie plus Ruben with the sports updates, and not to forget the big team that is behind the scene, the technical bit of that, the technicians, the camera people, the sound engineers that make sure they are here, and by 6:30 we kickstart your day with so much interesting stories and ensuring that we take you around the globe so you can fit in any discussion, local or international, as long as it is meaningful discussion because you're very informed. Now, this morning, I want to focus on issues regarding the environment, and to be more particular, I'm going to be looking at Mukono Municipal Council. Now, on set, I have the town clerk of Mukono Municipal Council, that is Rubura Charles. You're most welcome. And at the extreme end, I have the Environment Officer, Mukono Municipal Council, and that is Masengere George William. Most welcome, Sebo.
Good morning. Our viewers, and I'm glad to be on set and on air for this program. Good morning, Uganda.
Now, we are going to be looking at climate resilience and environment management in Mukono Municipality. Now, to begin with, Town Clerk, when we talk about Mukono Municipality, briefly, because we cover the entire nation, briefly paint a picture what Mukono Municipality is in the mind of people, or location and something like that.
Good morning, viewers. It's a great opportunity today to be hosted here on UBC. Mukono is among the Greater Kampala GKMA. It is in the center, and its location is very favorable because it hosts the industrial hub, that's Namamvi Industrial Park. It is very important. It has really boosted our economy. The people of Mukono are very friendly, and Mukono is one of the biggest municipality in Uganda with high potentials economically. Thank you.
Now, that takes me to the town clerk. We are focusing on environment. What are the pressing issues affecting the environment? What challenges now that are facing Mukono?
Yeah, well, I would start by also adding on to what my supervisor has said. What is Mukono? First of all, as Mukono is one of the fast-growing municipalities in the country, and it is seated on over 210 square kilometers. It has two divisions, that is Goma Division and Mukono Central Division. It has a council which is headed by the mayor, His Worship Elisa Mukasankoyoyo. It also has division chairs from Central, we have Kabanda, and then from Goma we have Mr. Chasa. And then, of course, with our attendant speakers. Now, when you come to what are the pressing issues of Mukono, of course, it's an urban center. Number one issue that is pressing Mukono is in environment, is waste management. Of course, waste management is a global and a national issue. Recently, we have just received an unfortunate event of Chitezi. And by the way, Mr. Robert Mukono hosted the waste that was coming from KCCA, from Kampala, and I believe it was for the entire Greater Kampala metropolitan area. So when it comes to Mukono, in as far as environment is concerned, we are speaking of waste management, we are speaking of wetlands, we are speaking of rivers and streams. We are talking about also drainage, because recently you had the rain that really affected people in terms of floods and other areas. And now when we talk about environment, those are the issues that we need to think about and then plan. Of course, as Mukono, we are putting our heads together to be able to develop certain strategies and policies that can guide our people and also guide the implementation of our programs within Mukono and within the entire Greater Kampala metropolitan area. And specifically, we are glad that we are among the 9 participating entities under the Greater Kampala Urban Development Program, which has about 4 pillars. One of the key pillars is urban resilience, where environment falls, looking at tree planting, looking at wetland management, looking at biodiversity management, looking at waste management, and all those attendant issues that speak to environment, sanitation, and climate change. Now, the other pillar that is also part of the program is infrastructure, that is mobility, roads, and we are glad as Mukono to be the first entity together with Chira to host the flagship projects, that is Lot 2 and Lot 3, that is of Mukono. And now when I speak of those 2 lots, Lot 2 starts from Wantoni, Katosi Road, and it goes through Chikoza, Kame, Anthony, it takes Albert Cook, Nabuti, Nsube, and then joins back to Katosi Road, and then it also covers Admin Link. The idea is, how do you improve mobility and how do you develop infrastructure that is supposed to support the people? And you know, when you talk about infrastructure, you're talking about also environment infrastructures, because those infrastructures cannot exist if they are not existing within the environment. And you know, they also support extraction of raw materials from the environment and also protection of the environment for the people to appreciate and be able to drive their livelihood. So, and as far as Mukono as pressing issues are concerned, that is also one of the key issues. Of course, the other global issue that is also affecting our people is air quality and air pollution, noise pollution in the urban setting. Mukono is not so different from Kampala and other urban areas within the country. Noise is a big issue. Air pollution particulate matter in the environment is also another big issue. So these are the issues that we are trying to address and be able to plan around as far as Mukono is concerned.
Okay, now environmental issues that are affecting Mukono, we've gotten them. But I'm so interested, Town Clerk here, to know how you're addressing these issues and if there are penalties. For example, one of the biggest challenges for urban centers is waste management. I'm told, I stand to be corrected, that there came a time when KCCA thought Mukono would be the most suitable district, that you said, no, for us, if it is garbage, please don't bring this side. Better find other suitable places. So how are you handling garbage? Mukono is growing very fast, developing at a very terrific speed.
Yeah, with Mukono, the Council of Mukono has come up with a strategy of whereby we are developing a strategy to see that we manage garbage. And this one of it is that we are setting up a very standard profile plant at Katikolo, which will be first class, such that we manage illegal dumping. Of course, there is too much of illegal dumping, and this is because there is a lot of garbage which is collected within the area. And most households, in most cases, fail to collect their garbage. And times we have a large pile of garbage which can go on for almost a week, but because people are not sensitized enough. So what are we saying? We are coming out with a solid waste management strategy. And we are sure that by 2030, we shall be okay. In this strategy, we are going to ensure that it is passed. I'm sure, George, we already have a bylaw which is being developed, and it is going to be approved. And in that bylaw, they are already set penalties which are punitive and maybe would discourage people to dump garbage like they do now.
I loved the word you used, waste management strategy. But what is entailed in this strategy? Because, you see, garbage, when I was in Entebbe, it was a problem. When I was in Jinja, they're somehow managing. When I was in Mbale, it was a problem. When I was in Fort Potro, wow, I admired. So I'm interested because Kampala seems to be failing. I'm sorry to say, but Kampala seems to be failing when it comes to garbage.
Yeah, well, I can speak to that in as far as solid waste management because of my experience in the space of waste management. I am currently the chair for waste management and sanitation in the Greater Kampala, and I have had experience in most of those areas. I know in Uganda we have 9 entities that are doing a project that is similar to what we have in Mukono. That is Jinja, that is Fort Potro, that is Kabale, Lira, Soroti, Mbale, Kasese, and then Mukono is another. But basically the idea was to develop, because there was a research done, a survey done to identify the composition of the waste that we generate within the country. And that survey found out that almost 70% of the waste we generate within Uganda, and particularly the urban areas, is organic. So from that kind of survey, we developed a concept of composting the waste that we generate, converting it into manure. And you see, if you have 70% of the waste you generate and then be able to develop a resource out of it, in our view, compost manure could be sent back into the gardens, and then it supports production, agriculture production. And then also, within that very project, it was also looking at how you can reduce on emission of greenhouse gases. That's when climate comes in, because what causes climate change is global warming, because global warming is caused also by emission of greenhouse gases, which create a blanket in the space. Now, if you do composting, and you do composting aerobically means the composting process is supplied with oxygen instead of generating greenhouse gases like methane, like hydrogen sulfide, like carbon monoxide. You generate other products which are not potent to generation of creation of the blanket layer, and the creation of the layer that is responsible for global warming. Now, if you do that, you'll earn two revenue streams that the framers of this entire project were looking at. Number one, they were looking at a generation of revenues from emission credit, reduction of emission, which leads to credits. The other one was generation of compost that you'd sell to the market and people buy. And Mukono in particular, were enjoying a good market because if you look around, the nearest place to serve the entire central, that is Mukono, Mpigi, Wakiso, Kampala, and maybe Buyukwe would be Mukono. Because the nearest place you'd go to would be Jinja, and then Soroti, and then Imbari, and then Kabale, and then Imbarara. That is in the western, and then Kasese. So we enjoyed some time of selling compost, and I remember that time around 2015, we were selling to Skoll, we were selling to Rose Industries, the Rose Garden, those who were selling flowers, were selling to sugarcane growers, because the compost was valuable. And we also had customers who were buying and applying it onto banana, and it was doing a good job. So that is one of the components that we had looked at the time of inception of our project. Now, speaking to what my supervisor has spoken about, that is the waste management strategy. When you talk about a strategy as a municipal, we come up with ideas of how we want the municipality to be. Yes, the problem of waste management is there, but how do we address it so that we are able to generate the following? Jobs, clean jobs. We're able to generate a revenue. People can derive a livelihood out of it through either composting or through recycling of the waste. We now have, within Mukono, we now have people who are picking. We call them hubs, recyclers. People pick the PET bottles, people pick the paper bags, people pick the buveras and take them to be recycled into other useful products. And that supports the local economy at the village level.
In Kampala, I see many of them.
Yes. Now, in our strategy, we are saying, let's not look at waste as just a material we can dump and leave. Let's look at waste as something that we can develop into an industry that can support job creation, an industry that can support education, an industry that can support production of food, an industry that can support a local economy. So in our strategy, we are looking at recycling, and as Mukono, so far, our Katikolo site that we have, that was part of the CDM project, we are again augmenting it with boosting compost production, and now we are transferring their material recovery facility to look at value addition. When we collect the plastic material, we are able to reduce the volume, compress it, and then shred it to be in fine units, and then send them back to make the plastic bags, to make the pipes, to make other products that can
So that is already happening, or it's in the pipeline?
It's in the pipeline because we were only waiting for power, three-phase power. Now, as we speak, we have a contract on site who is supposed to install their three-phase, and then we also secured machinery from our partners like GIZ, who supplied us with a baler that compresses and compiles it, and then we were given a washer to clean the material, because as you collect material, it has some impurities in them, so you need to wash it and clean it, and then we also have a dryer on site. Now, the remaining part would be, if we can get a shredder, we can get an extruder to convert that plastic material into valuable products. And of course, we believe that is the strategy we are moving in ensuring that we don't just pile waste. We only convert the waste and then turn it into another valuable product. And then also, we believe that waste management with private sector, it can be a good turnaround point. because as a government, we may not be efficient and effective in handling waste, because our population is growing, our numbers in terms of tonnage is also rising, and you know, if you have, now we used to have Chitezi is no more, now you have to go as far as Mitiana Road, where KCC has put a facility. The rest of the places, the rest of the municipalities don't have a site where they can manage their waste from. So that means if you don't have a designated place where waste is supposed to be, maybe apart from Entebbe, which has Katavi, if you don't have, then you see certain dumping, haphazard dumping in our wetlands, in our abandoned spaces. They'll be full of garbage. So what you need to do, convert that waste and let the people start seeing the value out of it, and then say, instead of just abandoning it there, let's take it to people who can convert a valuable product out of it and then earn a living out of it. So that's what we are thinking as Mukono people.
Those are very good strategies, I must say, if they can fully be implemented. When someone knows that this is money. Ugandans, where there is money, there you've gotten us right. But I want to go to the town clerk now. I want to look at community involvement.
Yes.
Now, you see, as long as the community does not understand why certain things are being put in place, they may not support these. You may see it as your council, as the town clerk, pass all these ordinances, we discuss here strategies, but if they are not involved, one would still feel comfortable to collect and dump anywhere.
Yeah.
So how are you bringing the community on board?
Yeah, of course, as we set up these programs and strategies, we can't do them without council. So when we develop a strategy, we always pass through council, and the council has to endorse. And when it is passed by council, that is when we can go ahead and implement. And that's why we have come up with the strategy, the bylaw, but it has already been approved by council. We don't end there. We also make sure that we carry out stakeholders engagement, because the people we are leading must be informed, and we do this through barazas. We normally call people around, and when they gather, we tell them what we are really doing, what we plan to do, and its impact. So normally we need to be with the people. We need to hold stakeholders engagement, and we have actually done that, and we shall continue doing so, because they must be informed. We must work as a team. We cannot achieve alone as a technical person. The councillors, the executive, the mayors, they must all participate, and we are doing very well in that area.
Doing very well in that area. But also when we talk about them participating, I go back to the environment officer. Let's look at what have been the effects of climate change, because most of the times the elite, we understand climate change. But as long as the people don't understand, we find it hard for any campaign to promote resilience and adaptation.
Of course, I like it when you ask that how have you involved the community, because and climate change speaks to the community more than most of the other things, because you cannot touch the impact of climate change here, and sometimes when it happens, the effect is devastating. As Mukono, we are developing a climate change action plan. When you talk about climate change, I normally tell people that when you say climate change, you're talking about three things. You're talking about water, you're talking about heat, you're talking about capacity. Because it's from capacity that people are able to develop resilience. And water is the biggest felt impact that people feel in as far as climate change is concerned. Now for Mukono, we're talking about floods, we're talking about loss of livelihoods, we're talking about damage to property, we're talking about injuries, we are talking about episodes that we have seen and our people, communities have seen, when a rooftop comes and of a school is blown off, and the learners do not have space where to study from, and it is a rainy season. So these are visible impacts that when you invite the people to say, now, yes, we have seen this, evidently, let's come up with an action plan of seeing how we can address it. Now, for you to develop a climate change action plan, you need to first do what we call a climate change risk vulnerability assessment to know which communities are likely to be impacted. And when you look at the impacts, you have to scale them, say, which are the low impacts, which are the medium impacts, which are the high impacts. And therefore, when you're designing strategies of responding to these impacts, you are deliberate and intentional in designing an action plan that will address those impacts. So for Mukono particularly, we are saying people who are living in low-lying areas are at risk of having floods, clearing their households, clearing their businesses. Like, for example, to be specific in Mukono, you're talking about people that are residing in Kame. When it rains, all the waters from Besania Hill, all the waters from up level, upstream, will be draining into that. And you know, the drainage channels, sometimes they will overflood, and the people who are operating in the market, their goods and merchandise will go. You know, it sounds just a story, but until people see that, I think my boss, you remember when we had rains and the people of Bugere Road, water entered into their shops, the hardware, cement was lost, and that is value, that is livelihood. Somebody picked a loan from the bank, and water comes and starts messing up with all the cement and the products, and then devalues whatever is supposed to sell. So that's how people feel the impact of climate change. And now, when we sit together, we say, what actions can we do? Because you see, when climate change attacks the vulnerable people at the lower level of the pyramid, we're talking about children. Sometimes, you remember we lost a child along Nabuti who was sent to go and throw garbage because of rain. They know that there is a channel which flows, and now it has rained, so they say, please help us get rid of the garbage. They send a child. When the child reaches there, all he does is to step and feel the level of water. Water drags the kid, and life is lost. Those are among the impacts that we look at and say, can we build the capacity of the people to be sensitized that, please, these practices are dangerous to your livelihoods?
Well, it's there where I'll begin from when we go for this short break. That's when I return. But also look at issues regarding revenue, because most of the things the environment officer is discussing cannot be done without revenue. Let's take a short break.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll-free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
When you want to relax your body and refresh your mind, Welcome to Hotel La Confidential, Aroa's premier destination for luxury and comfort. The only hotel in Aroa City offering a serene atmosphere, breathtaking scenery. Come and discover our exclusive wellness club with packages that include a fully equipped gym, a rejuvenating sauna, steam bath, and a great sky blue swimming pool. For events, our state-of-art conference halls and versatile event spaces are perfect for hosting shows, wedding receptions, birthdays, and more. Come and enjoy our cinema hall and unisex saloon, all designed to meet your entertainment and grooming needs. Bring your family and let your kids splash around in our beautiful kids water park. We are located on Aroa Pakwachi Highway in the heart of Aroa City. Don't wait. Visit us on www.hotelconfidential.com or call us on 0761 688 181.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
You're still watching the Extra on UBC TV. Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono, and with me I have Rubura Charles, who is the town clerk of Mukono Municipal Council. And also I have Masengere George William, who is the Environment Officer, Mukono Municipal Council. We are looking at climate resilience and environmental management, particularly in this part of the country. How are they managing? It is growing very, very fast development there, but how are they coping up to ensure that Mukono, the livelihoods of the people are not affected so much by climate change? Now I want to bring in the town clerk. Environment, we need finances. One time I was speaking to some of the officials from the base here in Kampala, and they said, but you see, if we had enough money, if we would collect enough money, maybe if we are told that what we collect, there is a percentage that doesn't go to the consolidated fund, but remains with us and helps us purchase at least more garbage trucks. Now, how is the issue of revenue collection in Mukono?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, we cannot tackle environmental degradation without finance, because what normally happens is that we need proper planning, and the planning itself is very expensive. If we are to mitigate the environmental degradation, we need better roads, we need better schools, we need clear dumping grounds, we need street lighting, we need so many things. But in order to achieve that, we need the sources of revenue, we need finance. Because actually what we get is not enough. Actually, the local governments should begin being independent, such that they can be able to sustain themselves. Because most of the funds which comes from the center has strings attached. So you may find that some of the things which are very emergent cannot be done.
It is ring-fenced. A grant comes, yes, very clear.
It has strings attached. This one must do this, this one must do this. But then the way forward is to have your local revenue, because you can do development tailored towards the demands of the people. But to do this, we need funds. But luckily enough, Mukono has strong bases of revenue. But where is the problem? The problem is people are not compliant. People, when we talk about tax, at times they look at it as being punitive. They see it as a punishment. Most people don't want to pay tax. Maybe it could be part of our role to sensitize them. We need to sensitize them to know the importance of tax, of paying taxes, because when you pay taxes, you are doing a service to the community. It's like you, a taxpayer, you are giving back to your community. So what we demand from the taxpayers is that if we have paid your tax, what do you demand from us? Are we doing the right things? Me, I've paid my money.
Is there value for money?
So they need to see value for money. Otherwise, we must put effort into seeing that we extract revenue. Like Mukono has a strong base of local service tax, a strong base of business licenses. These two are highly attracted from the industrial park because we have so many industries, so many investors, and we really need to see something done. Actually, also to encourage them to pay, we need to show that we have done something for them. We collect property rate from the industrial park, we collect local service tax, but then they ask, what have you done for us? We are saying that you look at Namamve itself, part of Namamve has not been tackled. They have not done roads in some part of the industrial park. Government of Uganda has concentrated in those areas that belong to the industrial park. But we have areas within the industrial park belonging to private investors. But they also have roads which are connecting to the industrial park. So as Mukono, we also think that as a payback, when these people give us the money, let us also make the roads which are connecting to their factories. Maybe they would see the reason why we should pay the money. When we get these services, when we get the taxes, of course, there's going to be economic boom. There will be economic growth. Because when we have businesses growing up, then we shall be able to do whatever we want. Even these issues which are affecting the environment, we shall be able to address them.
So I love the fact that you say there is high possibility of collecting revenue, but the issue has been people complying to their noble obligation as citizens of Uganda to pay tax. But no wonder even in the biblical days, tax wasn't an easy thing. Some wise men came to our Lord Jesus Christ and were trying to look at all avenues of dodging tax. But he was clear, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God. Yes, you want to supplement?
First of all, I want to say thank you to Government of Uganda through Office of the President. We were granted a program for urban development, and that very program has two components. The first component is institutional strengthening, then the other component is infrastructure development, that is MDG, Municipal Development Grant. Now, under institutional strengthening grant, we have a company that supports us to boost our revenue source. Part of the objective of that program is to build our capacity as a municipal council to perform better in the spaces of revenue and other areas of governance. Now, in revenue as Mukono, we decided to say that we shall use that grant to do massive property valuation, because the law requires that you charge property rates from those that you have evaluated and you have agreed on the rates that are supposed to be paid. Now, for us as Mukono, it has given us a big boost, because we're collecting close to about 200. Now we are running in about 600, 700 millions. That is a big boost. Now, it also speaks to how we engage our people in as far as taxpayers is concerned, taxpayer education, taxpayer sensitization, taxpayers awareness, going out to the people and telling them this is the statutory requirement to pay taxes, but it also, these are the services that we shall give back to you as part of what you are supposed to pay. Then also, we have also done a physical development plan for the entire municipality. Remember, we didn't have funds. We were only putting about 50 millions per year, and then it would take us 5 years before you do this word. Development has overtaken. Now we use that fund under the institutional strengthening grant to say we are now developing a physical development plan for the entire municipality. Remember, we are saying we are owning almost 70–80% of industrial park is based in Mukono. Namamve Industrial Park, the one of UIA, is within Mukono municipality. Now that is our cash cow. So what we are saying, we develop the entire comprehensive physical development plan, and then we are able to guide the development. We say, this place is supposed to be for residential. This one is an industrial area. This one is a mixed commercial. This one is where cottages is supposed to be. After doing that, then we go say, now we are now working on infrastructure. We are connecting the roads here and there. Where we have a gap, where local revenue can support us, we do. Where local revenue cannot support us, we engage government to boost the entire planning. So I believe we are grateful as Mukono people for the government which has supported us in that space, and we believe by the end of the 4 years we shall have quite a lot. And I know what is in the pipeline now. We are also planning to make our Kame market one of the biggest market of Mukono municipality. We are now working on relocating the vendors, taking them to an ideal place so that construction of the roads continues, and as well as also construction of the market is concerned. And we believe when we did an evaluation, we realized we had over 3,000 people that are likely to be housed within the market.
But will we see the market see the light of day? Reason being, there is some information I received, and I stand to be corrected, that the land where government had planned to have that market still had issues. Don't know if town clerk you can come in. That was it belonging to Uganda then. So it's like government had put a stop to that and moved to another area where they are well organized. Town clerk, you aren't organized enough.
No. The program is still ongoing because we have the land. Yeah, it's not for Uganda.
Then that will happen. But also on the planning, I love the fact that you brought it in. Having a plan for Mukono is very important, but sticking to that plan, town clerk, now I will excuse the environmental man, but the ball is in your hands. Many a times I've seen areas that have plans. They tell you this is an industrial area, but some tycoon madly comes from there and a structure comes up, and there's always justification for that. When we say this is a residential area, you wake up, someone has leased his land prime in there to be a taxi park. You know, this is a residential area. Bars are hitting left, center, and right. Now, when I came in to purchase this piece of land, I was told that is residential. So I'm like, let me build my house here. I'll age well. The next day I have a taxi park. This side I have a factory of a maize miller machine, there are about 3. This side, and it's all nonsensical, but you have a plan. So how are you going to enforce? Let's even call it enforce, because Ugandans are very crafty and disturbing at times.
Actually, what is happening is that for Mukono, we are still developing our physical development plan. And I'm sure when it is done, we shall be able to enforce, but it includes so many things. Sometimes, you know, putting it on the ground is not easy because it needs a lot of funds. For example, when they say here we're gazetting roads, they need to be opened. When we say road is going to pass here, it has to be opened. But if it is not done, it will still be encroached on. Then when we try to lay things as they are in the development plan, it is possible, because it will create order. But right now, our plan is not yet out, but once it is done, we are going to follow it and we shall implement. I also hear the cries of people. For example, I hear so many complaints about people, about stone crushing. Somebody has built a residential house somewhere there. Somebody has a stone crushing machine in the front of the residential area.
It becomes a quarry.
It is really very unfortunate. People are disturbed, there is too much noise.
And the environment officer, chickens out.
The environment officer.
Chickens.
It is really a very big challenge.
He will have all technicalities to explain. You see, they got a license. Now this license wasn't given to us. It is from Ministry of Energy. There are so many excuses that you can't. And the investor will continue with this breaking and.
Maybe we have to be tough with the enforcement. We have to put in tight laws, and we see that once the development plan is in place, it must be followed. Equally like the churches. Everywhere churches are springing up, shouting with loud speakers overnight, and also you hear complaints. people are complaining. It is also really polluting the environment, and I think we must have a stop to that.
Well, I can take hours having people from Mukono, because there is so much interesting things that are happening there, mostly when it comes to their plan to see how best they can handle the environment. Allow me give each of my guests this morning just a minute for their parting shot, and I'll begin with the man in charge of the environment in this municipal.
Thank you very much, Mukulu Chirabo. Of course, first of all, I don't take this opportunity for granted to have space to speak to the nation and on our plans, but I also invite the media, because you play a big role in sensitizing the wananchi, especially at the local level. How I wish other media agencies can also borrow a leaf from what I can see from UBC, and then be able also to give us a platform within which we can speak to our people and tell them the programs we have and what we feel is a danger to their livelihood, a danger to their health. Because, you know, you neglect the environment, you're neglecting your life, you're neglecting your humanity, because environment is part of who we are as humanity. So I think the future can be bright if we are all working together. I also believe that the leaders can also play a big role. For example, if I'm planting a tree in front of your neighborhood, don't stop me, because that is your tree. At the end of the day, you intend to have so many benefits out of it. When we talk about trees, photosynthesis, they absorb carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. They are able to give us the modulation of the microclimate and all those values that we cannot touch and see. So in a way, environmental management is our core responsibility as human beings. I remember the words of the late Pope. He said, environment is one of the other values the Catholic Church can pick on, as it was an addition, and it was invented by him. Of course, Pope has powers to come up with an idea, and then he says, this is what the church is supposed to follow. Now that yesterday were celebrating the Uganda Martyrs Day, I think it's very important. Our people also believe that environment is Mother Nature, and then we should conserve it as a country, Uganda. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. That is Masengere George William, in charge of environment, Mukono Municipal Council. Thank you very much. Now, Town Clerk, as we move out of here, your parting shot.
Yeah, thank you very much, our host. I also want to appeal to the community, especially those in Mukono, on issues of revenue. I understand in most cases some of them have complaints. The tax is very high, but there are always avenues. If you feel you have been taxed unfairly, please come to our office. We can address your issues. Thank you very much.
Well, please come to the office. Sometimes, yes, I also agree. The people on ground can make judgments when they most of taxes where they're just estimating, where there aren't proper books of records and they just estimate. Sometimes that may be unfair to you, but run to the town clerk's office and let them revisit and see which actual figure you're supposed to be paying. Don't dodge paying tax, because when fines come, it's very heavy on you. Pay tax, do business comfortably, and let Mukono develop. Now, I'm also very eager and waiting to see how the environment strategy for Mukono district will be, because these are things we believe that will help us, and maybe it will be a case study. I told you when I was in Fort Potro, two things I loved about that city. I never saw street children. I don't know where they hide. In Fort Potro town, it is the only town I've been to where I never saw street children in Uganda. The level of hygiene in Fort Potro was so good. So I hope and pray that now Mukono, since you also have a plan, I wait to see something like that. And also for the infrastructure development plan. How I long to see planned, organized cities. Leave alone these investors who now buy chunks of land and then they plan. We want to see something by a government entity. May the good Lord bless you so much. Have the best of your day. See you tomorrow, God willing.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know. You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks, Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN